Welcome to the 2025 PGT Mixed Games. It is time for the final table of event number 2, 5K buy-in, 8-game rotation. Should be a lot of fun. We'll have some big names at this final table, and we are also joined by an expert commentator today as we take you inside our triangle room here at the PokerGO studio. My name is Remko Rinkema, Donnie Peters alongside me in the booth, and 4-time WSOP bracelet winner Kevin Gerhart joining us in the booth to provide some analysis, some feedback, some background, as we already know that he plays with some of these guys quite regularly. Here's a look at the chip counts. Wong on top with 5.6 million. The big names at the bottom, Adam Friedman and Nick Schulman. Toby Lewis in the middle of the pack here, as we have quite a bit to fight over, with $170,000 up top for the winner, $29,600 guaranteed for the final 7. It's going to be quite the battle here today, as there's also a plethora of PGT points up for grabs in the race for the championship, which of course the top 40 players will qualify for. The pleasantries have been exchanged. Cards are in the air. And we are starting off with No Limit Hold'em. All right, Kevin, you can just take a break for 10 minutes. We know how this works.
You guys got this one.
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I love all these games, and I've played a ton with almost all these players, and I'm excited to watch the action unfold.
All right, if you guys have any questions in the chat, please make sure to send them in. We'll try to cover as many of those as possible. We're keeping an eye on the chat on both PokerGO and on YouTube. We're also live on Twitter, X, whatever you want to go with, as our chip leader here comes in for a raise with ace-9 and takes down the first pot. Wong, by the way, no stranger to big spots and big final tables. However, most of his success came over a decade ago. He finished second in the 2008
really
10K 7-card stud.
Need a longer
Made a bunch of final tables back in that era. 10K horse, 10K 8-game was his most recent WSOP cash, where he finished 14th last year. So Wong knows his way around these events.
Yeah. Well, this table's super wobbly.
It is very wobbly.
Toby Lewis, probably most known to newer poker fans as main event, WSOP main event finalist,
250.
but has also been around the mixed games for quite some time. And
yeah, him and Schulman are just a jack of all trades when it comes to poker. I love to see Schulman's fold with 8s in this spot. He's under pretty intense ICM pressure here, with Friedman being the overwhelming short stack at this point. He doesn't want to tangle with anyone who has his chips or even just a little bit more. And Sam taking it down.
Donnie Schulman on a quest to be inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame this year. His probably one of his closest rivals, Scott Seaver, also playing in this event yesterday. Do you think that that's on Schulman's mind when he plays events like this?
Yeah, and I think he talked about it last summer, I believe it was, when he won the 25K, and our colleague Tim Duckworth interviewed him. He's asked him specifically about the Hall of Fame, and you know, Nick was, I believe, pretty honest in saying that, he wants to be considered among the best, and in order to do that, getting into the Hall of Fame is a big feather in the cap for sure.
In the black.
Better than the opposite.
21 bigs for Schulman in this round of No Limit. As you'll see, we progress through these 8 games, and all of them play quite a bit differently. Also, when you look at how deep the stacks are with the limits versus the no limit variations, and the split pot games versus the single winner games. And Schulman here coming in with the raise holding King Jack.
I'm sure the solver would say that ace-9 off on the button here, off of 12 big blinds, is a profitable shove. But Friedman wants to take his poker prowess to the other games where he knows he's a better player than some people at this table, and wants to, instead of just flip for his life, wants to actually play poker.
Yeah, it's funny how
How many
No
do you
Limit
think this will get today? can't believe 100's possible. It seems
I think it's going to get 100.
It's
Feels like it, right?
I mean, who would have had
100 unique or 100?
No, total.
total. Yeah. I mean, who would have had these numbers for the last 2 days?
Not me.
How many uniques in this?
I thought it was going to be less for
this
this than the horse.
148. Yeah.
No, this is double.
But
it's always
unique,
gonna be
like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe half.
80?
Yeah.
Yeah.
60%.
Razz said he was in for 3, so I mean, I think a lot of guys were in for multiples.
Yeah, maybe less actually.
Even
know
when
how
I
many
walked
they
in this
started with?
morning, they already had 60 players
Here?
No, for the
on
horse.
time for a 10K, which is amazing.
60 something, probably.
Yeah, you turned left to come hang out with us, but
Yeah.
must have been tempting.
A little bit. You know the saying, if you can't spot the fish at the table, you're probably it. I kind of felt that way of every single table that was running.
Yeah, Donnie, give the viewers at home some more insight into the success this series has been so far. Event number 3 getting going today, and already seeing a good turnout for that event as well.
Yeah, I think we saw it start in the satellite when, what was it, 77 players turned up for the satellite for this event, allowed to 5 seats. And then from there, the first event of the series, 5K horse, which we did coverage for yesterday, that sets the record in terms of a mixed game field size here at the studio, here on the PGT. Previous record was 89, so blew it out of the water with 130 entries. And then, we just said, hold my beer. Let's have 148 entries in this one and shatter the record once again.
92 is the over-under? That's close.
It's one thing I've never been able to do.
Bounce?
Yeah,
Got to really trust the release.
Chip tricks being discussed here between Schulman and Friedman.
Almost like a free throw. You need that like extra, almost a little dainty with it.
no one ever told me that. Free throws. There we go.
Schulman, of course, all class, all style, no matter what he does. Even his chip tricks look smooth. Kevin, you said you've played with some of these guys more than others, and I know that 2 of them are actually part of your regular game.
Yeah, they're out of towners, but whenever they're in town, they like to show up to the 8160 limit mix game at Resorts World, where we play 15 different games, and that would be Sam Sternfield and Tal Avivi, both of them. Very welcomed in our mix games. Both show pretty aggressive styles when it comes to cash. I assume they're adjusting for tournaments at this point, but both are very, very nice people.
Action folds over to Friedman, sitting on 12 bigs. No limit hold'em, name of the game. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is probably Friedman's least favorite game of the rotation.
575,000.
Considering he's won the 10K dealer's choice 3 times, how many times do you think he's called no limit hold'em?
I think 0.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's just a guess. I mean, there are spots where calling no limit can be a good choice, but given the average table of the 10K dealer's choice, for someone like Friedman, it's probably better to not call hold'em. And here he takes this one down, picks up blinds and antes. We're playing 7 hands of every game before the game switches. Like I said, it's an 8-game rotation. You'll see all the games phase through here. So even as we get more short-handed, it'll still be 7 hands per game. So it's not dictated by the amount of players. It is just a set-in-stone number. As I take a look over at the chat, Christy is with us. Jimmy Bluffett, thank you for tuning in. Mia says, mixed game specialist Remko. I would not call myself that. I'm more like a poker connoisseur who enjoys all the games.
I don't know. You bubbled the mixed game at the WSOP once.
I bubbled the 8-game mix at the WSOP, courtesy of Bruno Fatusi. At least I got to bust myself out versus a legend. But yeah, the expert analysis here is Kevin Gerhart, 4-time bracelet winner in a variety of games, regular in the mixed game scene here in Las Vegas.
Are you gonna win or not?
I
And
I hope in the future you guys are learning through osmosis. You know, just me being in
Oh,
the
yeah.
room.
Yes, for sure. I mean,
Excuse me.
it's
you guys
great
have
to
at
hear the
Las
insight
Vegas?
and match it to the play.
What'd you call
I think there's like.
We can do the
450
basics, but you know,
450? Yeah.
gotta take it up a
Slow?
notch
Is it
for the
pretty
people.
quick?
No, it plays decently fast.
Yeah.
They
Lot
do
of-
get a lot of rounds out from the Westgate,
and no limit
so
hold.
it can be a little slow sometimes.
Oh, you mean they have privileges over there when they?
I know people from the Westgate get rounds over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like grandfathered into
Sure.
like,
Sure.
I think for another 10 years or something, they get like 5 times a day or something like that.
Oh, I see.
But half the time they don't even get used, you know.
Yeah.
It's weekends, I would imagine, mostly. Just watch football on weekends.
I don't think we're too surprised that No Limit Hold'em is played a bit passively.
Yeah, we've only seen one flop so far of the number of hands that we've played. Most of this is just a pre-flop battle, and people don't really want to tangle in this game. You think the other games are more suited to their strengths?
I will say that leads me to be a little bit surprised that Wong specifically isn't just really opening every hand. Because if he knows other players are just going to be reluctant to play this game, especially with the ICM with Friedman being really short, then doesn't that just really give him like all the freedom to just raise?
Yes, exactly. And if you had someone like Pads or anyone who knows ICM for No Limit Hold'em, they would just be hammering in this spot.
Quick check between Avivi and Sternfield, and a set on the turn for Sternfield with Avivi having flopped a straight. This could get really interesting.
And after it goes check, it's a pretty natural lead anyway from Avivi out of the big blind on this type of board. So Sternfield could get in quite a bit of trouble.
River is the 10 of hearts. 1.1 million in the middle.
425.
425 is the bet.
Call.
Oh, wow. Sternfield just going to make the call with his set.
Wow.
A little defensive here.
Wow.
Just cold.
I would have gone broke there.
Yeah, me too. I'm very, very shocked with how that hand played out.
Wow.
You turn the best card in the deck for your hand, and you just call
Nice one.
against relatively small size bets.
Not only that,
That's-
but Avivi, like he could have got super greedy on the end. Like he could have come with 1.5 million, a little
Right.
bit over pot, anything like that. Which, you know, a lot of times you see the No Limit Hold'em specific players. You mentioned a guy like Pads, for example. Like just get as greedy as possible
bring it too?
on
Yeah.
rivers like that. Make it completely polar. And maybe that's just because of Avivi. You know, maybe No Limit Hold'em isn't his game of choice. It's the mixed games, which is fine. You know, but he could have really hurt Sternfield even more.
Yeah, that was an impressive display of just not wanting to put your tournament life at risk.
And Sternfield did show him, so Avivi might be thinking, "Oh man, like I could have got $1 million. I could have got $2 million."
Well,
you know?
like I mean, I'm not a hater, but maybe a little bit. If I call there with a set and I lose, I just quietly muck and move on to the next hand.
yeah.
You don't want to show that you're just calling it down with a set. Definitely a tight approach there from Sternfield. Keeps himself alive on 1.8 million, and now we are playing a 7-card stud high.
5 hearts.
One of the more expensive games. Single winner game, no chops. Also, from my perspective, one of the more difficult games. Hand ranges a bit tougher to construct, but it all of course starts, like any game, with your starting hands, which can trip beginning players up. So if you are in the chat, please send your questions in if you have them. But I feel as though starting hands in this game might matter more than in most.
Yes, that is the hardest thing to teach people about this game. They see Ace King 4 rainbow and they think, oh, I have Ace King. Ace King's a good hand. Hold him. Why don't I just play it in stud? No, it's not a good hand. You don't even want to play small pairs in this game,
6-8
just
of
because there's no real bluffing
Exactly.
that occurs in
Wrong
this. You
suit,
kind
but
of just
yeah, same thing.
want to take hands that will
Alright,
run
that's not
out
fair.
your
I'm
equity.
locked in right now.
Unfortunately, and Nick's never feel that though. And that's like an ace, maybe 20%.
I have to give the nod to
And
Friedman
once I said
in
that, I mean,
stud
my
high.
options were limited.
They were.
This has to be his best game, and maybe he didn't take a couple spots in No Limit Hold'em just to make it to stud high.
Stud is rough on this table.
I'm just surprised how wobbly the table is.
Also, if you're new to mixed games, keep in mind we just played 50K, 100K, no limit. Now we're playing 200, 400K limits. Those are, of course, those are the large bets. So from 5th Street onwards.
The 8 of hearts, I can't actually see the 8. But
10 seconds.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But making it all the way to 7th Street on Friedman's stack,
with the 2 picks.
basically impossible.
Yes, so Friedman has to pick a hand that he wants to go with all the way down to showdown.
Maybe it was just
And you
when I
saw
was
he
getting
just folded a
tired as
pair of
well. I
sevens.
was like squinting a little bit. I was
Sort of the glare.
Correctly, of course, because there's kings and queens behind him.
So Lowe's card brings it in, which is Avivi here, who picks up 3 hearts. But he's not going to go with it after Wong completes, and Arvidson comes over the top to 400K. Wong's going to call. We got kings versus queens here, and the player with the kings has the queen up. Very interesting situation here.
And he's a chip leader, so possibly Arvidson says, okay, you know, you could be on a steal here, applying some pressure.
Wong does catch an ace, which could be in his holdings. So let's see how far Arvidson wants to take this if aggression continues to get shown. And
3 kings now.
Now it gets pricier. 5th Street. The bet goes to 400K.
Normally when your board looks this scary against a board that's as innocuous as 8-3 deuce rainbow, you just want to continue firing no matter what you have in the hole. And it's really hard for Arvidson to continue with maybe even aces at this point.
I mean, Arvidson like a little bit lucky there that Wong's board broke really well. His board broke really bad, and he was ultimately folded. And, you know, if Wong's the one catching a 3 and a deuce or whatever it is, maybe Arvidson pays a little bit more down the line. So
he didn't even make it to the big bet street.
Yeah.
It just cost him 2 extra small bets.
Every player in this game antes, so not using the big blind ante. I'm sure that option has been discussed among the mixed game community, but we are continuing to use the regular format for this.
Early on in stud tournaments, we do have a button ante where the button moves around the table and that person antes for the entirety of the table, but that's only in the first couple levels because the ante would be too large compared to the size of the table if you had all 8 people anteing at the same time.
Tempting spot perhaps for Friedman to try and steal, but his stack's so shallow, doesn't want to get involved.
Complete.
And Schulman here is going to take the opportunity to steal.
Yep, pure steal 100% of the time. You have a card that's higher than the bring-in and you're the last to act.
Play from 51. We finished.
Robert in the chat asking, is this live? Yes, we are live right now.
Ace king for sure.
Payouts available
That's right. That's right.
in the chat as well as in the description.
153 was the last one. That's right.
Fucking drawing down there.
Flamingo Montoya watching again on PokerGo. Thank you for tuning in. Kieran says, always happy to see Nick, and hello from Germany. Kieran, thanks for tuning in. Haba says, fun table, let's go. Absolutely. And more people mentioning that they love to watch the mixed games. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Once a year, the PGT Mixed Games, and then, of course, WSOP streams. So consider this your training for when you watch WSOP streams later this year.
And listen, we got the first run of our WSOP schedule this morning, you and I, from our colleague Tim Duckworth. For all the viewers out there, if you want us to try and cram in more mixed games, you got to show love here on these streams. So you got to hit that like button. You got to subscribe to the channel. Again, if we see the numbers, we can tell the bosses this is what the people want.
Yeah, tell your
help us out.
Tell your grandma they're playing stud on TV.
Create like 6 different Google accounts. Hit the like button with all of them.
I'll
This is how we make it
text
happen.
my mom and get her in the chat.
That's right, exactly.
Although she probably is watching right now.
This one started with Schulman with the bring-in. Avivi completed. Schulman came along. Avivi raising with a pair of 3s and now continuing to bet as his board develops 8-9.
a really disciplined fold from Schulman. A lot of the hands that Avivi's open are hands that contain 8-8 or 8-9-10, 8-9 jack, 7-8-9 type of hand. So that hand, when he catches a 9, even though Nick has a 9, it very likely improves his hand to have more equity than the pair of 6s that Schulman started with.
Yeah, and on top of that, the blocker 9 that Schulman was holding made it even more unlikely that Avivi had paired the 9.
Right.
I've definitely seen Schulman be a bit ICM conscious so far. Those 8s folded earlier, right? I mean, maybe if Friedman's not as short, he comes along for another street or something like that, you know. But I think this is kind of a tale for how Schulman's come into this, being like, hey, okay, I know Friedman's over there and he can be all in at any given moment, so I don't need to go too crazy with my stack with the position at the table.
Right. Sam folding an ace here seems kind of tight, actually. I think even with his stack size, you probably want to go for the steal. You're risking 200K to win 400K in the antes and bring in.
Well, and then before that, Wong folded an ace, which again, as the big chip leader, and it's clear that like no one really wants to get involved unless it's the situation where, you know, it folded to Nick earlier. He was the last one in before the person who brought in, so he just raised, right? Stuff like that. But no one's really like getting after it too much. Which again tells me that Wong should just, I mean, almost like not look at his cards until somebody decides, okay, I'm gonna put my foot down and stop you from doing this. But he could just apply max pressure here.
Yeah, and the more pressure he can apply, the tighter the ranges your opponents have to play if they are ICM aware with the short stacks left in the field. The ladders are quite big, and we are playing for 170K up top.
Well, let me ask you, as the mixed game expert specialist, like
Where do they play at?
we obviously know whenever we do final tables for Nolan Hold'em, even PLO, like we know about ICM in those games. It's certainly talked about as part of strategy, and much more so than ever.
Right.
Is it as much in the minds of these players in a mixed games tournament?
I'd put it more in the minds of say, Nick Schulman, Toby Lewis, even Adam Friedman. The people that play the big bet are more ICM aware than the average mixed game player. The average mixed game player is probably just going to play whatever game they're used to and not adjust too much. Maybe the fold with the deuces from Sam in the No Limit Hold'em round proves otherwise, but I think the big bet players are more likely to be ICM aware.
Lewis completing here with the 3 diamonds ace high, and Avivi potentially here giving Friedman somewhat of a price, but you can tell by the look on his face that he still doesn't like it.
It's not worth it with the dead ace out there, even though you have a 2 flush. If you have 3 hearts, then yeah, but it's not worth it to continue.
If Friedman, let's say he had 3 hearts, is it then a matter of you catch the 4th heart and you just go with it then? You want to build that pot?
Yeah, I think so. Especially with the 2 high cards. The 2 Broadway cards just give you such an advantage over, say, someone with a 7 up, which most likely they're holding is a pair of 7s.
And Avivi now potentially getting himself into trouble with a pair that could easily be beat, on top of the fact that Lewis just picked up the 7 that he would need to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, if you get yourself into a spot like this, as Avivi, with just a pair of 7s, and he picks up a pair of 7s and 5s, I was going to say, if you just have a pair of 7s, it's very hard to continue in the rest of the hand. I'm curious to see if he finds a raise here with 2 pair, blocking the 7 from Lewis, even against a pair of aces. 2 pair is a slight equity favorite.
And now, given this raise on 5th Street, are things crossing Lewis's mind? Like 2 pair combos, big pair in the hole.
Yes, I don't see Toby wanting to raise and put more money into this pot. He knows that if he catches a jack or an ace, it's probably good for a higher 2 pair. Obviously, if he catches a diamond, they just keep catching each other's cards.
And Avivi now blocking additional flush outs, which is a hand that he will likely put Lewis on. So he's more comfortable continuing to build this pot, knowing that Lewis's outs have been reduced. However, split ace is not impossible for Lewis, even though Friedman had one.
Right.
So, the trick with 2 small pairs is always that you can run in 2 dominating 2 pairs, which could be very costly.
Lewis just with 2 big bets left now.
Right. I expect Lewis to bet any improvement in his hand. Catches a diamond, catches 2 pair, and he misses. The diamond shows up in Avivi's hand instead.
Check. Checks down.
Does go check, check.
7s and 5s with 10.
And Avivi is going to take down this big one. Lewis misses on a bunch of outs. It was still 50-50 on 5th Street.
He was an equity favorite on 4th Street with 65-35 as well. Having the overcards and the diamonds is just so strong. You have so many cards in the deck to give you a lock on the hand.
And don't discount the fact that now the chip leader is Avivi, who's, I would say, has probably been the most aggressive player so far. So maybe he takes that role that I was saying I would have liked to see Wong take, you know, just stepping on the gas a little bit more. And also citing that you said you play with Avivi, he's a bit aggressive in the cash games. Maybe he just starts applying that aggression here.
Right, yeah, I really hope so. And if he does, that puts Adam Friedman in even more of a jail situation of find a hand and go with it. Because it'll cost you even more money to continue if the player on your right is opening more frequently. There we go. I mean, 2 aces out there, 3 aces out there. 2 short stacks both have aces, and the big stack has an ace. See, I think that's a mistake, is folding ace 10-8 with 2 suits, even though there are 2 aces out there. You're not going to get very much resistance from someone like Schulman, and we've seen Wong, even though he has a big stack, not want to play too many pots.
Well, he is in there on this one.
Yeah, the Jack 9-8 is definitely an open off of his stack size. We did see Schulman fold the King Queen 9, which could be a play in a cash game, but in a tournament sense with 2 people much shorter than he is, he's looking to ladder up.
Razz and then
PLO.
PLO. Okay, thanks.
Next game, Omaha 8 or better.
1 and 2 playing 2-4.
I think it's fair to say this is one of the more popular live cash games in Las Vegas outside of the usual suspects. There are certain rooms that offer a ton of Omaha 8 or better, especially in the summer. This game always pops off. Stakes sometimes get quite high as well. From my perspective, this is the type of game that everyone thinks they're good at.
Yes, I completely agree. And I've learned that I'm not as good at this game as I think I am, because I'm not really doing too much other than whatever the meta game of the current situation is. There are games that run, like you said, 40, 80, 50, 100 that run year-round in Vegas, and then when you get to the series, 200, 400, 300, 600. So there are some actually very talented players that play this game.
Raise. I did that already. Okay.
And Wong is going to use his chip lead to apply some pressure, and Sternfield finds suited aces, suited pair of aces with the deuce.
Yeah, a dream situation.
Name of the game, of course, is to go for the high and the low. If you've never played this before, you need 5 cards, 8 or lower to qualify for the low, but you have to use 2 cards from your hand to do so.
Yeah, you can see the equities, even with a hand as strong as Ace-King 4-3, the equities pre-flop were not in your favor. But when you see a flop like this, flopping the nut low draw uncounterfeitable with the nut flush draw, your equities change so much, even against a pair of aces. Sternfield checks back with 2 pair on this flop with no low draw, which is very interesting. He is in protection mode.
Yeah, Sternfield also with a very small stack here as we go to the river, which brings the queen of clubs. Scooper for the chip leader. No lows possible. And look at this. Sternfield is going to call it off.
I don't hate the call because we block a lot of full houses with our 10 and deuce. We only have the deuce of clubs in our hand, which is a reasonable blocker to the flush.
All right.
But there's a lot of draws that missed on that turn. We have no diamonds in our hand. So I think the call there on the river is very standard, and we're just going to lose a big pot even with such a powerful pre-flop holding.
Oh, never mind.
I know you put your hands down on the back table.
And the rich get richer.
I mean, this is just going to be a very interesting situation. You have Sternfield on 400K. Friedman and Lewis are, 715, 825 respectively. So people like Arvidson, Schulman are just in ICM jail right now.
Yes.
Can't really do anything.
Lastly on the level.
And then, for Wong and Avivi, it kind of just depends. If one of them isn't in the pot, the other can just do whatever they want, and vice versa, right? So be on the lookout for that.
I still expect Wong to play pretty straightforward. I'd be happy to see him kind of step out and play hands in this game that maybe don't contain an ace, or try to put pressure on the stacks that he knows are kind of in ICM jail. But people should just be playing very straightforward here, and the chip leader should be accumulation mode at this point. Wow, even a hand as strong as Ace King 9-6 in the cutoff just gets folded to the chip leaders, both of them on his left. He doesn't want to tangle with. This is just the respect that you gain being the chip leader at this point in the tournament.
It's also a nightmare. Friedman, Sternfield, and Lewis all sitting on absolute crumbs right now. So for Arvidson and Schulman in particular, there is no incentive to do anything right now.
Right, and if Tal knew that on the button, even with Wong in the big blind, I think Wong has been playing a little snug. Tal could just open any 4 cards, and a lot of the times these pots end in a chop. So you're really just pushing your equity and using your chip stack to leverage on your opponents.
So Friedman, Sternfield, and Lewis have basically one hand to play. Wong can just apply limitless pressure. Even if he doubled up all 3 of those players, he'd still be the chip leader. Or at least him and Avivi would still be way out in front.
Oh, so Sternfield gets stuck in the big blind as the limits have increased. So 250,000 of his 400,000 are already in the middle. We should see an all-in pretty much no matter what, unless he has trips in his hand from Sternfield. It just depends on who wants to tangle with him.
Ace King 10-6 double suited for Friedman.
It has to be Friedman. There's no folding this, and he knows there's no folding this. It doesn't matter. Wong should be a customer here.
Wong will happily
This will be interesting.
Take two players to showdown here.
Yeah, if Wong raises and Sam wakes up with something that he doesn't want to play with,
here we
can
go.
he find a fold?
All right, so
it's 400.
You got 2 on the side.
All right.
Gonna have a
400 here. Let's keep it
3-way
right.
all in here. Wong taking a stab at sending both Sternfield and Friedman to the rail. Now, keep in mind Friedman has 150K left here, but there's really no escaping this unless it gets checked down, which we have seen in Hold'em the last few final tables.
Part of the main.
Yeah, look at these high equities, which are on the left side. They're all very, very close.
And Ace Deuce Deuce shows up. Sternfield with just 1% to win the high, but has the best low chances. Friedman with Ace King has the best high for now. And now there's going to be lots of glancing and staring at everyone's cards and outs.
Toby Lewis loves to see this, by the way. Loves it over there.
Yes, he does.
Now keep in mind, Wong could still
I just don't remember
scoop
anybody
this if I'm
stacking these
correct.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like stacked to be the side pump, but
There's no low. It could go.
I
It could
see,
come Jack,
King or deuce would be great.
Jack, and he could win. He actually has quite a bit of
King or deuce
high
for Omaha,
equity.
right?
Even a 5 would do it. But then I guess Sternfield makes a low.
Would get the low. Yeah.
So many cards in play right
Like
now.
you said, there's a lot of glancing around and people trying to figure out if no one has like a nutted draw either way.
Just here.
nice to be live on the low.
Friedman already sick to his stomach, even though
Anyway.
the hand isn't over.
No, this is amazing.
Turn card is the 5, as mentioned.
Is the 5.
So 2 pair now for Wong, aces and 5s.
I guess I gotta let
Sternfield makes his low,
Yeah, I saw.
but this 5 now gives Friedman a low draw.
Ooh, baby.
And a
wow.
deuce on the river. Friedman wins the high with ace king,
King high.
and then Sternfield
Said all I wanted was a deuce.
takes the low, and they chop Wong's money, and no one goes home.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Even have any.
Yeah, honestly. If you're going to get ahead of the turn, let it be a 5.
We should do a slow zoom in right now on Toby Lewis's face because he was just sitting there, stone faced, being like, are you serious? Really?
Adam, you're very good at all-ins.
Yeah. Tried
Practice.
to bust him last night.
Very, very good. I couldn't get him.
I was very good at all-ins in this tournament last year at this final table. I got to be really honest about that. I think I won like
was gonna say the
six
same thing.
of them or something.
We remember.
When I finally had the best hand, I lost.
I'm kind of proud of myself for being able to keep up with all those cards. Last year, for reference, during the mixed game series, Friedman made 3 final tables, a second, a fourth, and a third place across various different formats.
It's me.
If there was a Hall of Fame for mixed game players, Friedman would be first ballot, 3-time winner of the 10K Dealer's Choice, also winner of the 10K Stud and the 5K Stud, 5 bracelets under his belt.
Arvidson opening here with the 2 short stacks in the blinds. I really like that he's finally coming out of his shell and opening not a great hand, but a reasonable hand. Toby's still kind of in jail, even though his hand should be a call most of the time. I think we're going to see him lay it down just to preserve stacks, to try and outlast Sternfield and Friedman.
Is this hand, though, so unlikely to match up with many of the cards his opponents have that it is actually a decent opportunity?
The deuce and the 3. I mean, you could put an ace in Arvidson hand most of the time. Sam probably has an ace as well. So your deuce 3, the odds of making the nut low in a hand that you want to go to war with isn't really a thing with 2 aces. Probably dead. So I like to fold in a cash game. I'm not folding that hand, but tournament, it's good stack preservation.
All right, here we go. Sternfield all in for the second consecutive hand.
Currently.
Arvidson out in front right now with just a pair of 3s for the high. Making a low will come down to running cards. So that conversation could be done on the
It really
turn.
is. It's like ace and 10 isn't awful. Not good, but not.
Both players with ace 10.
A lot can happen, but
Somehow a favorite. Somehow.
what's that?
Somehow a favorite.
It's like a pretty big
Yeah, actually, yeah, it really is.
Anything above it?
He wants me to make a set almost, you know?
Above 7, above 7?
All right, here comes the turn. It is the 5 of clubs. That eliminates any low draws.
6, 4?
Arvidson's pair of 3s out in front.
Put up.
Hang
And
a
an ace
second.
on the river
Yeah, no, it's a chop.
will chop it up.
Is anybody thinking about that card?
Yeah, Friedman just knew.
Let me have it, all right?
I forgot about that one.
Never thought I'd be able to read a board better than Nick.
I knew. All I knew was ace 10 6 4.
I didn't mean hang on like I knew it was a chop. I just forgot about that.
In other news, no one's ever going to bust from this tournament. A question from Herbert in the chat.
I was also
He asks,
surprised at
what's
how
the
big your
best
hand was.
starting hand
Yeah, it was
in Omaha 8 or better?
Good.
Ace, deuce 3, double suited.
Poker is poker.
There we go. You want to go high and low. And I'm guessing as we move down from there, it'll be aces with slightly different low cards.
Right.
How far do we go down that list before another type of hand shows up on
Well,
the chart?
the next type of hand would be ace, king, and then low cards.
Right.
But aces are far and away the best starting hand that you can have. Suits obviously give you more equity. The good low cards give you a lot of playability.
Yeah, how far down do we have to go before like a deuce 3 4 5 double suited or something along those lines becomes like a top hand?
I don't mind those hands, but in most games of poker that I play, you want to play hands that can make the stone cold nuts, and the only way that hand can make the stone cold nuts is if an ace shows up on the board.
And look at the similarity here between Lewis and Schulman. Lewis all in
225
for 575, ace king 4-5, going both high and low, as Kevin just pointed out. And Schulman with almost the same hand,
It's 750.
ace king 5-5.
75. But is it? Yeah.
It's okay.
You're good.
Very good.
I'm on.
Okay. Is it more call?
Yeah, that's
if it's
fine.
more
All right, here we go again. Two players all in. Schulman taking a stab.
Just about to see what's going on here.
We have the same hand.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Schulman does not like his hand at this
Can I
point,
win
knowing
pot
that.
at him in any capacity?
You have spades, right?
Spades.
So he has spades. He has spades.
Wow. For the,
He
for
has
the
real
side pot.
spades.
The lone 5 is what
575
Schulman is looking
in
for.
Yep.
150 on the side.
Okay.
Equity's running close. Schulman cannot win the low, as you can see on the screen. He could chop the low.
See the spades for Toby.
Three spades.
Three-way chop. I don't know.
That'd be an awfully weird one to
That'd be very
three-way
weird,
chop,
yeah.
but
Feels like we
Trips
can't-
on board. He makes a full house with the
You
fives.
No, I-
Yeah.
Possibilities. Poppy.
I have seen 3 jacks in this spot before.
this is
I've
you
covered
on, right?
plenty of 08
Yeah.
tournaments.
I
I don't think I've ever seen
Wow.
this amount of all-ins,
I've seen that.
especially not three-ways. All right, here comes the flop. Still lots of ways to do this, and it's 4, 8,
No clubs.
10,
Got the
2
mighty
clubs.
fives working.
They're in decent shape now.
They are.
Schulman's fives do indeed look a whole lot better now. Turn is the 6 of hearts.
And you got
That
hearts.
brings
And
in
hearts.
Yeah.
the low.
Oh, big river card.
Or the board measure.
Ace deuce for
10 of
Sternfield.
hearts.
No, that wasn't the one I was thinking of.
I mean, shit, even if I hit a deuce.
Lewis in the most trouble here.
All right.
And it's a 7
Toby,
of clubs
wow.
on the river.
Ace, deuce, and 5.
And Lewis
No,
makes a
No, he
straight.
made a straight. Toby made a straight. 4, 5, 6,
Chop
7.
it up.
I mean, you
So-
said
The two all-in players,
I think for the side pot. it's-
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Yes,
Side pot
yes,
chop.
yes.
the two all-in players again chop the money of the
Yeah,
covering
because
stack.
half of
And after much mathematics, we're going to just continue here with 7 players.
How to bust people.
it. Like, you owe him 75 of that 150. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was on-
he's on the
Sorry,
side.
I had the mixed up. Sorry, the mixed up. Sorry.
Weird runouts.
What was my equity pre there? Pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad. That's
Pretty
fine.
bad, yeah.
We've seen some like weird dominating hands in a way.
Yeah.
All right, if you weren't
Limits
confused
up
by
next
mixed
hand?
games already, I'm glad we're contributing to
No.
additional
Limits up?
confusion here with
Oh,
all
never
these
mind. Yeah,
runouts.
they just- yeah, right.
Mia in the chat asking,
I
where's
got-
the
yeah,
skill?
Yeah, never mind. Thank you.
The skill in this game, especially with short stacks, is
Yeah.
pre-flop. Deciding what hand you want to go with and hopefully realizing your equity. I mean, you still have 3 players that are 2 bets or less in the tournament, and this is, I would say, this is the second
game.
or first best game to get all in because it's a chop pot
Everyone's
a
all in.
lot of the time.
I don't think I can get scooped on that turn card. No, ace, you make
Yes, you can.
5-4.
Case ace.
Ace.
Yeah,
Ace, ace.
case ace, I get scooped.
That would have stung.
Yeah. We've all seen it.
One ace. No.
All right, back to action here. Ace 6, 5, 3. 3 spades for Avivi. He's going to raise it up. Friedman would like to squeeze that 3 again, turn it into a deuce. But still, he's got a suited ace with some low cards.
Or change any of the 6 or 7 to any paint card. That would make it his hand so much better. I'm surprised he's using time banks. He's normally one of the fastest players, but this is a really tough spot. I think he's going to lean on fold just because the high equity from the 7 and the 6 in his hand is not great. Yes, you have a suited ace and a 3, which is good for the low, but I think fold it just has to be the right play, and he knows it.
And Wong makes the call with a hand that only plays high. He's basically only playing 3 cards. King, king, queen, 7. The 7, a bit of a dangler here off the side. And Arvidson in the big blind comes along as well. Oh, excuse me, action's still on him. Jack 10-10-5.
I think he's gonna call. Oh, nope. Oh, decides to lay it down. I think this hand plays okay 3 ways when you're getting such a good price.
And especially because it plays so straightforward.
Right.
You hit this kind of flop, and then all of a sudden you can apply some pressure, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, this was the type of flop that he was hoping for. Look at Friedman's face. He knows he has the ace-3 of clubs on this spot, which if he knew this was the board that was coming, he'd be very happy to be all in.
Avivi is going to continue betting, as you can see.
Yeah, this is a lot of pressure to take with just a pair of kings and no flush draw, no straight draw.
Call.
Wong going to make the call. River is the 8 of diamonds. Avivi makes the low. The kings survive. It's going to cost quite a bit to find out here. Wong taking tremendous risk, investing bets on all streets just to chase a chop.
Sixes for the high. Get the sixes.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say not recommended to put yourself in that spot.
I don't like that spot at all, especially with no low equity possible. Having just a pair of kings in a game that's so dominated by aces is not a spot that I like to see players put themselves in. It's so hard to play post flop. You find yourself folding a lot on low boards where you're giving up so much of the high equity. It's just not worth it to put yourself in spots that are this difficult to play.
Omaha better.
If you're just joining us, this is the final table of event 2 of the 2025 PGT Mixed Games Series. 5K buy-in, 8-game format. The games are limit hold'em, Omaha 8 or better, Razz, stud 8 or better, no limit hold'em, deuce to 7 triple draw, and deuce to 7 single draw. So you'll see all these games pass through. We are currently on the 3rd game, started with no limit hold'em, played stud, and now we are on a limit Omaha high-low. Correction here that, of course, single draw is the 9th game, and there's only 8 in this mix. PLO was the one that I forgot about.
Right. Which I'm pretty sure PLO and Razz are coming up next, which are both single winner games, and we probably will see some chips fly and some eliminations during the next 14 hands. As the dealer called, this is the last hand of limit Omaha 8 or better.
So apologies for those no limit deuce fans, but we do have event 6, which is a 15K buy-in dealer's choice, and event 7, which is the 10-game championship. Those games will feature no limit single draw.
Yeah, if you guys are worried about learning these 8 games, the dealer's choice where they have 20 games, that'll be a treat. We're gonna have a lot of fun during that tournament.
But at least right now, you can enjoy some regular, good old no limit hold'em if you join us on playpokergo.com. You can play for free right now. Lots of games running at all times. Like I said, free to play, available on web, iOS, and Android. So go there right now and sign up to playpokergo.com for your hold'em fix while you watch some mixed game actions here from the PokerGo studio in Las Vegas. All right, back inside the room. Still 7 players here after quite a roller coaster of all-in hands. My name's still Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters alongside me as always. And for the occasion, Kevin Gerhart, 4-time WSOP bracelet winner, joining us here in the booth. And we are back to a stud variety. This time it is Razz. People love to hate this game, but it has some fun intricacies, and it can also get a little aggressive here as you can play your opponent's cards versus playing your own, which makes this kind of fun.
Toby coming with a limp on first position after the bring-in with an 8 up. I really like this play. You're just burning chips because there's multiple low cards behind you. that are going to apply pressure and make you put in more chips than you want to. He's risking a much lesser portion of his stack by just calling on 3rd Street and then calling again facing a complete.
6s are new. 8 of hearts is low.
And then this hand should just eventually be all in, I would assume.
So Arvidson has a very good 3 card, pairs is 6. Lewis makes a good 4 card, so he'll be eager to realize equity here. And Arvidson catches a 10.
6s are low.
Lewis pairs is 8. Lewis still a favorite, drawing to an 8-5. And he is going to try and realize that equity here.
All in.
It's going to be all in for 325. Arvidson makes the call, and we're going to see an all-in showdown.
No, put it face up in the bottom.
Okay.
All right, let's see if these guys can
Seems like a bad cut.
improve their draws. And Arvidson now 70% favored here, drawn to a 6-4
So it goes in the bottom.
as Lewis hits another 8. But Lewis instead makes an 8-6 here,
86.
and that's going to do it. Lewis is going to double up to 2.1 million.
84.
And keep in mind, he was down to 575K,
320.
and all of a sudden, things are looking quite all right for him.
And not so all right for Arvidson over there, who's now on 800K.
Thank you.
That is, I guess, the beauty, but also be the
Grasshopper
painful
might
part.
bust first.
I hope not.
No, I think you're safe, but this could be one of those weird ones. Like,
Sure feels that way.
maybe it's me.
So side note, Schulman just referred to Wong as Grasshopper, and I've heard that name
That's his nickname.
from the East Coast's high-stakes mixed
Watch
games.
Tal and Grasshopper get it in.
I've never played with him.
Just dawned on me, you could hit the case 5 in that way, you can't.
So
So
if
you
that's
have
the
to
same
scoop.
Grasshopper,
There was a case
I'm
5.
impressed he's out here.
When?
For ace king 5-5.
Like on a high only board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5 XS.
Yeah. So 5 for trips, but I mean, I had like 15% or something, maybe less. That's really hard 3-way.
The
Felt
beauty
a
and the
lot
pain of
better
these limit games is that
Give me that.
you can always hang around much longer than you think, and then it takes a small little rush like Lewis is on right now to be totally comfortable again.
Yeah, he had 1.5 feet out the door until he rivered that straight in the Omaha 8-pot and then made a couple tight folds, but ICM aware folds, and is now stuck with another decision. He knows that his 2 million, if he were to play all the way to 7th Street in this hand, will be all in. So he has to navigate very cautiously. Schulman also in the same boat, knowing that if he plays this hand with 1 bet every street, will be all in by 7th. Stacks are very shallow.
Yeah, so Lewis, excuse me, as Schulman comes along as well, and now we got 3-way action.
Yeah, no one's made a mistake yet. Obviously, the equities still run very, very close. We're leaving it up to the poker gods to decide on 4th and 5th Street who gets to continue in this hand.
And ace pops up for Wong.
Oh, wow. Everyone catches a low card that does not pair them. That is impressive. So we're going to see a really big pot here. Could determine a lot for stack sizes going forward.
Wong, the favorite, drawing to a 7-4. Lewis on 7-6-5. Schulman on 8-4. So Schulman has more room to improve. Bigger gap between the cards. His ace-4-3 looking very tasty here.
Call.
Schulman comes along as well.
And this is the most important street, maybe, of their tournament life for them. 5th Street is where the big bet starts. 500,000 chips, and no one has that many chips left except for Wong. We'll see who gets favored by the poker gods.
Jack, Queen,
Jack of spades.
4. So nothing, nothing, nothing.
Yeah,
Sort of a stalemate here on 5th Street.
this is going to get very expensive.
Now, of course, keep in mind, Wong's Jack low could ultimately win this hand. You know, it's not, he has a showdown hand, but all these players drawing to far stronger hands, and they're basically going to say, like, I don't need fifth, but I do need to improve. And there it is. Lewis makes the call for 500K.
Yeah, I don't expect Schulman to go anywhere either. The equities are much further apart because so many of these cards are cards that the other players need to improve their hands, and they're just not in the deck anymore. So if we see 3 more face cards on 6th Street, we could be playing a massive, massive chip leader pot.
Well, 3.4 million in the middle, a 10 for Wong, a king for Lewis, and a 5 for Schulman. And Schulman, all of a sudden, a massive favorite. Not only does he have the 8-5, he also has room to improve still. Not that he needs it, but that adds to his confidence here in this spot.
Check.
And Schulman, of course, has to bet this.
Check.
Quickly going to fire out 500K, only 325 behind.
Man, I think Wong's going to call no matter what, and then Lewis is put in such a tough spot with seeing all the cards that he needs as in the 4 and the 4, the 7 isn't good for his hand. I don't know. It's going to be a very, very tough spot with all of his outs being dead in the other player's hands. I'd be very shocked to see a fold here, but maybe he knows something we don't.
Lewis basically looking for an ace or a deuce with 2 of those 4s already on Schulman's board. Wong drawing to a7.
No. You could be board locked.
Ace. Raise.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
he's just doing this to deny equity to Lewis. He thinks it's possible that Schulman has 2 pairs somehow and is betting here. I think this is a mistake, but this is incredible.
Oh boy.
Using your big stack to your advantage. I mean, I don't think there's any way Toby can continue in this spot. We can see he has 11% equity, but this just gives him an easier out to exit this hand right now.
Absolutely incredible stuff from Wong. He might be wrong this time,
1-2.
Oh, 1.
but
Yeah.
we have to applaud him for the pressure he's applying.
I haven't used one yet.
Me neither.
If he calls, then he invites
things
Lewis
wrong,
into the
right?
pot.
I don't know.
Now by raising,
I'm not sure how that works.
he puts both players all in.
Right.
Just in case Schulman did indeed have 2 pair.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
Well, he thinks he still has equity against Schulman. He's just denying equity to Toby at this point.
Going dead, Nick.
No.
His equity does increase by 4%.
You put him face up in the boxes. Not very live. All my live cards are kind of dead. That's weak.
I was having that issue too, but
Until the 5 hits.
until the 5.
825.
How much
All right,
more?
so Nick Schulman, 80% here to win a pot worth $5 million in Razz.
So we have 6 draws, sounds like.
Absolutely massive pot here.
What I need to do?
Schulman's tournament life on the line.
yeah, of
Setting up
course.
the 320.
No, I know.
Here comes 7th
Nope,
Street.
you got it.
Can Wong improve? And he says you got it.
You, Toby?
Ace was, I would have won. Yeah.
King of clubs. 825.
Yeah, if Lewis would have caught the ace,
I didn't have a
He
5, so if the 5 pair you, then
Yeah, of
that's the only
course.
thing, because I don't have one, you know?
Then
That's
you
the-
raise and you
Probably not the worst knocking him out either.
Yeah, I would have won.
raise.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
You got
Wow.
5 in the hole, you're never.
Oh yeah, you got the ace, and we don't. Nick's card would be a mystery.
absolutely
player back there.
massive pot.
Probably.
And Schulman now one of the favorites to win this thing as the
Nick,
stacks draw
You might just
much closer to the
voodoo me
top.
by saying
There's
that.
a lot of voodoo going on.
Not
Oh,
cool,
shit,
man.
but I think you're still.
I think Friedman was just as shocked as I was. He made the same comment to Grasshopper that I made when I first saw the raise. He knew he
The
could
one
be
yellow
dead,
chip
but
on
he,
there?
I mean, the idea of denying equity to Toby works,
Oh no.
but
That's
I
the
think you're just
definition,
lighting the extra 325 or 500K on fire.
Top front out.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, Schulman now so dangerous
Silly game. Silly
with the
game.
big stack. And Lewis calling out that it is
We
a
get to do it
silly
again
game.
tomorrow too, right?
I'm excited now. Schulman has the opportunity to use his chip stacks for all of the lesser stacks at the table to put them in ICM jail where he just got out of.
Play the rush.
It's pretty funny.
Wong continues to apply pressure with an 8 up, and Lewis with a beautiful hand, ace 5-4 on the short stack.
Nick come after me on this hand.
Yeah, he has to
I
worry
got
about
to
Friedman
really get some
being
voodoo stuff.
slightly shorter than he is, but this hand is way too strong not to just be all in.
Raised.
And Lewis is indeed going to come over the top. The other players happy to turn themselves into spectators to watch what will probably be a race to 7th Street for Lewis's tournament life.
Yeah, we see the equities are still so close here, even though one's drawing to a wheel and one's drawing to an 8. It's just what happens in Razz on 3rd Street.
A 3
Eight of spades.
and an 8 pop up here.
Yep, and now it's a coin flip to see who wins. It should just go raise and call and turn them on their backs and
4 and
hopefully win
75.
a coin flip for somebody.
All right, Lewis and Wong flipping. 2.3 million in the middle.
Wow.
Wow. Fuck.
That's crazy. Be pipped there. That's so sick.
Two very similar hands squaring off, but it's far from over. 3 cards to come for both players.
Yeah,
Many
it's
ways to
amazing.
still win
Yeah,
this for
a lot.
Lewis. Jack for Wong.
Okay.
9 for Lewis, giving him the edge. 10
Don't
keeps Lewis out in front, and a 7
4,
makes
6,
his situation
7.
even better.
Nope.
Yeah. Go ahead and scan the last card there. The queen of spades and the 9s, okay.
All right, all the cards getting scanned,
Thanks.
and Lewis is going to double up.
Have you ever heard of something called a caster curse?
I have not.
So I watch a lot of competitive video games,
Okay.
and the caster curse is when you say
Take it back,
something
Nick, please, take
and then
it
it
back.
just
was
comes
just a
true.
short stack.
Please,
I
take
think
it
you've
back.
caster
That
cursed
was
this
spooky.
table.
Okay,
That was all I
no
know.
one's going to bust. I said it before, I'll say it again.
But I take it back, Grasshopper. I would
Thank
be
you.
shocked if you bust first.
That's not how you take it back.
It's too late to take it back, though,
Yeah.
right? It was.
Yeah. It's on TV.
Oh, take it back.
You know.
I took it back.
He didn't mean
it's
it.
retracted.
He didn't mean it.
I just meant, you know, we can't get rid of anybody. What's going on here? This is crazy.
The
Blame Remko.
Omaha hand was the weirdest one when you guys were all, the 3 of you were all.
Yeah, and like
That was
just the
just so
matchup.
strange.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's sharing cards.
Yeah.
Well,
Then your chop over
That
here.
was, yeah, just insane.
Yeah, your chop's pretty crazy.
yeah.
Once again, welcome everyone who's watching the show right now. We're on live on PokerGo, on YouTube,
7:25.
and on Twitter,
Yes, sir.
or X if you will. Please hit that like button if you're catching us on YouTube. It really helps us spread the good word of the mixed games. Schulman now seriously headlining this final table after just basically tripling up. And Lewis followed it up by doubling up himself. So the playing field is getting leveled ever so slightly. But the one thing we have learned so far is that unless your chips are literally all gone, you still have a pretty decent chance of winning this tournament. Perhaps now it's Arvidson's time to double up.
Yeah, this hand I think we just have to go with. I see a king behind and a 4 behind.
Does let it go. A little bit too tight, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. I think since we're kind of competing with Sternfield here to race to ladder up.
Yeah, but when you're the shortest stack, you have the least ICM pressure on you.
Right, but in this case, the shortest stack doesn't really matter because everyone still has around 1 bet behind. So
Check.
comes down to more antes and bring-ins, I guess.
Check.
Well, I guess he got his wish because Sternfield is involved here, so
Yeah.
at risk.
Sternfield
Losing chips.
has board locked, has the best hand and drawing to the best hand, and isn't committing any chips to the pot, which is very weird. I mean, he only has 475K, which is less than one bet, so he could be all in at any moment.
Sixes on you. Queen of clubs slow.
Is he just hoping Wong is trying to steal this?
Yeah, maybe. We can see he has 100% now, but he knows he can be all in it at any point in the hand. Any street, just put in 500,000 when he only has 475 left.
And here we go. Wong is going to go for it, and we're going to have a double up here for Sternfield.
Yeah.
No way for Wong to win this hand.
97. You're dead.
I'm going dead. Yeah. Nice hand. How much you have?
So matter of fact.
Sir, you're dead. The name of the game in Razz is to make the lowest possible 7-card combo. If you've never played this game before, it is played in the stud format. 2 cards down, 1 card up to start. Round of betting.
475.
I'm pretty
Betting
sure
on each consecutive street all the way to 7th.
Yep, aces are low. Straights and flushes do not count against you. The best hand you can make is ace 2, 3, 4, 5.
No voodoo, no. Nothing with the grasshopper.
Quick reminder here to check out our merch shop, shop.pokergo.com. Save
Very
10%
sneaky over there. Look how
with the
sneaky.
discount code PGT10.
I like that.
You guys are better than me. I have to lay
Gotta
the
sneak.
weeds.
Yeah, you gotta do You play some cash, right? Some mixed cash? You've played, obviously,
Yeah.
quite a bit, right?
I used to play in Ollie's game a lot,
Okay,
and now I
cool.
play in Crazy Mike's game.
Ali Najad?
Yeah.
Does he tilt as hard as everybody says, or not really? Is it
You know
all a
what's
big
crazy?
show?
Everyone always warns me about him, but he's been nothing but nice to me.
I don't mean tilt like.
Very nice. Just,
I don't mean tilt in
yeah,
a mean way. I just mean like.
I hear all these stories, and I'm like, there's no way.
you got some temper,
Good hands bringing.
but
I mean, we all tilt off eventually, but like, come on.
Hey, these cards, man.
he's a great commentator.
He really is.
Yeah.
He's a true pro.
Complete.
I'd love to remind Nick of the of the plethora of times that he's uttered the words, "Come on, Ali."
Yeah. I'm not going to repeat my favorite saying from Nick to Ali.
It's like tons of games, right?
They play like 14 games, and they play a lot of really slow games. It takes like almost 5 hours to make a thorough rotation.
Wow.
You're talking about the result world?
Yeah, the
No,
8160
it's
game.
like 20 games. Like.
Yeah.
But I like the games. Omaha,
Yeah, they're fun. They're
No,
good
it's
games.
super fun and a great group. I think Kevin's commentating. He plays in the game.
Oh, nice. Cool.
There you go. Shout out
me.
Kevin.
That's me.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
right in there.
Does it take 5 hours?
Apparently there was like a feud between Mike.
Somewhere
and
between
John,
4 and
so,
5.
Like there's like a split community.
They had a
It's like,
feud.
yeah. Apparently like someone got kicked out of the group chat or something. There was like it was just like drama. It was nonsense.
But could one play both games, or is it a hard? You're either
I
in
mean-
Crazy's game or.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the hard rule, but that's definitely what it feels like.
King of spades bringing.
There's a ton of people that
I'm
overlap
not
in
trying
both
to step
games,
on anybody's toes. If
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
says,
no, I hear
including me every once in a while.
I was going to say, did you cause the drama?
I did not. I know who
Were
did.
you kicked out of the group chat?
No. I think I'm liked by most people.
Crazy Mike's game is wild.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
You can reach in and grab your own pots. We do the no whammies.
Sorry,
It's
guys.
great.
Friedman here
Played
with
the
the
kitty
spot.
game for the first time I saw it the other day. That was wild.
What's that?
So like you
It's
would
like squid or?
no, so like you would pick someone and you would pick a number like 5%, 10%, whatever. And whenever you won a pot, you would take that percentage of the pot and you would put it in a bag and you guys would chop it at the end of the night. But you had to play open. That was the rule. So
Yeah, Sternfield has a background in computer
we're going
science,
south.
if I remember correctly. Has actually a very cool job where it allows him to play all these poker tournaments.
Well, Friedman
Funny
is
what it
going
did for me to
to
three-bet
call, try to make it to 4th Street to find something worth to take into 7th Street. His 8, of course, slightly behind against the 7 showing by Avivi, but the ace-3 giving him lots of room to make a strong hand. And this might be the signal that Friedman was waiting for. He catches a 6, and Avivi is going to call. Very likely going to go all the way with this one.
Yeah, Friedman knows on 3rd Street he's not less than 40% with his 8-3-1 in the hole.
Friedman now with just 300,000 in his hand. Catches a queen, but still will know that his draw has to be a favorite here against the board showing by Avivi.
He does know for sure, but I think you have to check in this spot just in case your opponent catches a perfect card and you catch a bad card.
No.
I think that's the thought that's going
30
through
more minutes
Friedman's
and then-
mind.
Okay.
Yeah, how much is preserving this 300K in worst case scenario worth it versus
Absolutely
putting
huge.
the money in?
Massive.
I mean, cash game, he just flicks it in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Tournaments, you have your tournament life on the line, so.
And here goes Friedman catching a 7. Avivi pairing his 7. Avivi thinking to himself, the best I can make is 9-8-7. And Friedman already showing 8-6-7. 8-7-6, I should say.
It's good. It's married.
It's a good price. And Friedman has his opponent drawing dead on 6th Street.
Yeah, put him in the box. There you go.
Yeah, it all comes
right,
back to
no
that check that Friedman made on 5th Street. I really like it.
I got a bad feeling, not
Because
gonna lie.
you get your money in 100% versus
Many things are going well
70%.
over here.
Yeah, after you see all those all-ins, you don't feel very confident.
I mean,
How did you feel when I bet 6th?
what?
How did you feel when I bet 6th?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure 7-7 was a little deflating.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone does get a chance to double up here as Friedman
Friedman,
now
this fucking game.
up to 2 million after some maneuvering.
Which one?
Fucking Razz.
Red?
I am shocked
Last hand of Razz and then.
that we haven't lost a player yet.
after.
Yeah, there were 4 hands. It took a while.
That was the 4th. Okay.
And
So
150.
35 annies, 1 bring in.
It's PLO next, right?
PLO is next.
All right.
So when they changed it, the acronym is NSORPLET.
Right, and last hand of
It's
Razz.
stupid enough that if you say it 3 times, you'll never forget.
What is it, sorry?
NSORP, S-O-R-P,
Yeah.
lit, L-E-T. NSORPLET.
And salt flip.
You know what?
Sure.
You did it.
And salt.
Yeah. It's silly enough. You say it 3 times. I promise you won't forget.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like that old.
I'm good at forgetting.
No, it's like that old child's trick where they tell you to like put the triangle on your head and you'll never forget.
10 of spades, bring in.
Oh, I'm the bring in. Okay.
So,
Complete to,
3.
was it all in or?
huh? I don't know.
Complete.
300?
300,000.
Stacks are so shallow that almost every hand is an all-in now.
Yeah. This hand is worse than the 10-7 deuce that he had earlier. And there's ace 10-4 behind, but there's nothing we can do except put our chips in the middle. We only have 4 antes left.
The funny thing is that at these limits, we should probably be 4-handed to see some kind of, play on multiple streets. And because we are still 7-handed, there are so many all-ins with the limits this high.
It's good.
Just makes sense.
It really does.
So Adam's contemplating here with 10-6-5. We don't know what Grasshopper has with his 4 up, but we know Sam has a 10 as the bring-in
Worry about
behind him. I think this is a good fold.
Even yourself, like it's weird.
Fuck.
It's nice.
This is
to
just going to
know.
work for
I
Arvidson.
never
You might be getting a free triple up, bud.
did that. Then it was like you sort of.
As we can see, he's got 14% equity. What's he hoping for?
It's time bank. It's like you pay for it. It's almost like
Yeah,
it's almost
but it's just like
Good fold.
people wasting.
I'd imagine so.
brutal. Yeah.
I didn't have that good.
And there it is.
that's for sure.
Arvidson more
Yeah,
than
I did not
doubling
want
up
you to call. I know that.
without showdown.
I thought Grasshopper was gonna call.
I had something I would.
Just using my nitty ace, my nitty image and my ace on my board. That's what I was using there. That's it.
75, 150 blinds, 7 stack out. First hand of PLO.
It's not that hard to have a nitty image when you have like a bet and a half.
75, 150.
I know. I didn't factor in too much, did it?
No, not at all.
Is it not 100, 150?
Just had king queen 10. Can't give any action.
I didn't want you to call, man. The way it's gone today, I'd just be like,
6-4 hole, so I
run out of
I run out of
whatever. Yeah.
I run out with like 10, 9, 8 good. And
I'm going to have to go with that.
All right, time for Pot Limit Omaha.
I'm glad I didn't call
Arguably the game that plays the
It's for sure
smallest.
75, right? Not 100.
75, 136 is
Lots
what
of
the computer says.
free folds for these players.
Yeah, lots of limping in this game. Although, with Schulman, his experience and his chip stack, I expect him to just apply so much pressure to the rest of this table. There's so many people with not a lot of chips that are waiting for Arvidson to bust. Friedman, Lewis, Sternfield, they're all similar stacks.
It's really not.
The good news is Grasshopper, if you fade, if somebody busts, I then have a great feeling about you. So.
Well, let's hope for that then. Thank you. Glad you give me a positive vibe.
I had a big chip lead at a horse final type of once, and went out first.
Is there anything like considered like a big chip lead though with these limits, right? It's like
I had a pretty big one once.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a big one, Adam.
Super freaky. Doesn't matter. It can just happen.
And you went out first?
Yeah.
Oh wow, just streamline fucking.
I might have done some things that were less.
You won't know what I have, but I know where you're sitting on.
Still, it was wild.
I won't know what I got, but I know where you're sitting on about.
Obviously, but
You'll see it.
I feel like people think it kind of can't happen in limit.
Is 8 high.
Oh, well, limits the way it happens, yeah.
Depends on what kind of 8 high, but maybe.
Was it 150 now?
Yeah, 150, 150.
PLO plays huge in the beginning and small at the end, and limit plays small in the beginning and huge at the end.
Yeah.
One short.
Yeah, you're 75.
Oh, sorry.
That last hand was a huge pickup for Sternfield. It moves him past Lewis and moves Friedman down into second to last place, putting more pressure on him.
Yeah, in this game, the big stacks do have a bigger advantage, being able to, go for the raise and take, perhaps go for, a larger size post flop, as opposed to having to really make hands, because you're going to go to showdown against these short stacks in the limit games.
Right.
And look at this, Friedman picks up the double suited kings.
Pot.
And he pots over the top. We're going to have massive action here in this round of PLO as he makes it 1.2 million, basically committing himself here against Schulman. Now, Schulman, of course,
1.575.
keenly aware of the tight image that Friedman has
1.2.
1.2?
in the big bet games.
Oh, sorry. 450 behind.
Pretty unlikely for
I'm
Friedman
reading
to
you
be
as strong here.
Thanks. I've never doubted your reading abilities.
King's probably the worst hand that Friedman ever has here.
Yeah, he could have some also ace-king type of hands.
Hey, double suited, all sorts of stuff. But
Yeah, Friedman
The
has
Wolfpack was
ace-ace,
in there.
ace-king, or good kings.
Wolfpack?
the middle of the deck.
You've never heard of that?
I'm probably the youngest one here.
The
you know?
Wolfpack is like the 5s
Not
to
saying
the
much,
9s,
really.
pretty much.
I don't know how old Toby is, but what are you?
35. Toby's around.
35? Okay.
Oh, how old are you?
41.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Grass is actually 70. He just looks really, really good.
29. Just in 29.
Toby Lewis, forever 25.
That steamed salmon he orders every day at the casino keeps me young.
The Wolfpack is my favorite poker expression, though.
150, 150.
I heard that. Actually, I did hear that recently.
I think Gus coined that. It's very apt, in 08 when you're coming in with like the 5, 6, 7, 9 and just scooping. So, that's the pack right there.
That's very Gus-like.
We're getting half 3 ways. What game is this?
PLO.
just open the last hand.
Yes.
I think if he didn't make that comment, he could pretty credibly open that hand containing an ace.
Right.
It's so unlikely to get raised behind by any one hand that doesn't contain 2 kings or an ace.
Did he really not know what game it was? I'm confused.
I mean, he looked down and it was it was a very good limit Omaha
Interesting watching all
hand.
these Omaha like final tables and stuff like whatever. I don't want to say too much, but
PLO? Yeah.
a lot of I'm seeing what.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that game.
Yeah, it's amazing how much it's changed like in the last 12 months even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check.
825 in the middle here. Avivi made it 300,000.
Tournaments are really
Sternfield
interesting.
called from the big blinds. Avivi going to continue here as Sternfield flops 2 pair. This is one of those spots where, wow, one of those spots where the big stack pressure gets to Sternfield right away. Now 9-6, of course, sure, that's not an exciting 2 pair hands, but
It's very vulnerable,
Right.
and if your opponent has an ace, they can pair any of their other cards. You don't have a straight draw, you don't have a flush draw to go with it. You just have naked bottom 2, and putting all your money in with naked bottom 2, even in PLO cash games, is a death sentence a lot of the time. You're hoping that your opponent has complete air,
amazing how
but
bad my
even
memory
then,
is
they
on
have
some
some sort
things,
of
but
gut shot or backdoor
covers
flush draw
off.
possibility.
I was looking around when there's like 20 players left. I bet the odds of the final I'm about to say have to be like 1/10 of 1%.
The odds of what?
What I'm about to say has to be like 1/10 of 1%. 20 people left. I don't know why, it just randomly dawned on me. You're the only person I've ever made a final table with in any tournament of the 20 people that are remaining.
Really?
That had to be like 1 in 1,000.
Yeah, for this tournament, I mean, it's basically impossible.
Yeah. I'm looking around like, is this? And yet
All,
you and I have
all
been in,
community, you've made a lot of final tables.
You and I have been in like, what, like 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Some here, some across the street.
Yeah.
Some at the old place.
Adam Friedman, of course. And I don't want to.
Actually, the first one here was probably my favorite final table ever. The 10K horse adjacent one.
Yeah. When was that, like 10 years ago?
400,000.
16, I think. I still think that's the toughest final table I've ever played.
I don't remember it like photographically, but I remember it being tough.
Yeah, it was you, me, Jason, Dr. James. I can't think of the Russian's name. Just played really, really well.
Michael Semenov.
Jesse.
That final table also included James Obst,
Forget it. You either finished second or third. I forget.
Jesse Martin,
I forget when you went doctor.
Yuval Bronstein, and Bryn Kenny.
I never
Just
realized
scrolling
that
down his list.
so much
That's
more
a
final
stacked
tables.
field. Oh my gosh. Shout out Jason Somerville, 16th place.
It's quite surprising you still have 7 left.
Yeah, well,
That's what I said.
wasn't for lack of trying.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we not lose
Someone
a
told me the
single
whole thing would
player
be
in
over in an hour,
Razz?
and I go, I don't think so.
No.
I still think it'll be pretty quick though, like surprisingly quick.
Yeah, I think we'll get from like 7 to 4 real fast and then take it from there.
So far,
What do you
event
mean,
number
wait?
3, 10K
Well, there's
horse,
a collective
55
win here.
entries to start this
Wow.
event.
You know what? You can have 7th now. Screw it.
I won't care.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, the nuts I folded. Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah, no one had anything to play with, and Schulman has one of the big stacks.
Yeah.
No one wants to contend with that.
Y'all just started the stream? I think.
They should have.
Yeah, it's
We've played over an hour.
time is it, sir? Since none of us have our phones, we can't check.
Yeah.
I guess there's watches.
Players living in
No, I know.
And yeah.
the aquarium.
Living in the past, baby.
Living in the past, no phones, no
People got
devices.
businesses to run, sports bets to make.
I think probably more of the latter.
Once again, thank you all for joining. If you're on YouTube with us, please
Hockey game
smash
for
that
me.
like button. Show the world that we all love the mixed games. Caitlin George in the chat says, "Go, Sam, go." She said, "I made that lucky shirt he's wearing." Okay. Love to hear that, Caitlin.
10 seconds.
Lots of action in the chat. Do love to see it. Yesterday, same thing.
350.
Time extension.
Tomorrow's stream will be a 10K horse. After that, the 10K 8 game I have high expectations for, given the field of this event.
Yeah. Kind of a tight fold from Sam there with Queen Jack Jack 9 with a suit. But I think he thinks that Friedman is quite tight in this spot.
10 seconds.
400, right?
450.
This is almost best case scenario for Friedman.
All in.
The money is going all in, and it looks like it's going to be a chop most of the time.
Yeah, ace-queen versus ace-queen here. Both players with the 3 as well.
Almost exactly.
Wow. Almost exactly the same.
As you can see, the equities
Only
don't
a jack
add up
back
to 100.
I don't like this table.
Couple jacks were folded already
Omaha.
Yeah.
from Sternfield. So
Running clubs, Friedman's
Wow.
best chance.
I mean, it's really odd how many similar
Yeah.
holdings and stuff have gotten in playing 4-card.
Yeah.
You know when you stand up and lose like 5%.
I just stand up all the time. It's fine. I'm gonna go get a drink if I lose. It's fine. I'm gonna go get a drink and go spread my friends in cash games. It's fine. It's whatever.
Arvidson's the player at risk here. King
Oh,
of
fun.
diamonds on the turn.
What's fun?
It just switched around, that's all.
Yeah, players can now hit different straights. Broadway available to both. River is the 6 of clubs.
I'll take that.
And they will chop it up.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
What are you apologizing for?
No, I mean, someone wants to see some blood. I know. I mean,
Blood's overrated. Kumbaya.
300,000.
great hand, Adam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Clubs and a jack. And
Yeah, I know. All the
Better watch out
equity you
now.
missed. I'm sorry.
just the same.
It's all over. I want the empties over.
I want the empties
all over. I drank a pot since then. Nick. I did.
I was joking.
I hit a lot of money.
That's okay.
To save myself.
I'm
so
good.
I'm not.
He even gave you, he felt so bad, he gave you like the, oh, I feel good about it if you,
I was so sure Club was coming. Anything was gonna happen.
he's really feeling guilty about it.
No, I feel weird, yeah.
Like,
I was just kidding.
now our cards are flipped. You want mine, I want yours. Yeah.
If it's your time, it's your time.
I want the jack, you want the 10.
Wow. That was crazy.
Oh, baby, 200 more.
Well, now that everyone in chat and in the aquarium is alive
Show you
again.
guys some
Yeah.
more
Nick, is
gamble.
Poker
I'm gonna show
going
you
to
some
run
more gamble
just
here.
a no limit single draw tournament ever? you
What's
think?
that?
Is PokerGo going to ever run just like a single draw tournament, you think? Or
You know.
They have.
they have done that?
Oh yeah, they run one.
Oh, they
at the
did?
end
They
of-
usually, yeah, they have in this.
Doesn't Kerry love that tournament?
Harry likes the game.
Used to
It
get
would be
5K
cool
single
to,
draw at the end of mixed game series.
Yeah.
like the like fall mix games, or right?
No,
I
that's.
think it was the
no.
second one.
They had all three. The first, they had them all.
There was a strict single draw tournament. It was 5K at the end.
This is the first one they haven't had it.
It's rough. No push for you either. You at least get a break?
375. Eventually.
Eventually. Okay. Huh?
This is a good
A
hand.
new game.
No, but he's a good man. He deserves a break.
Show us, Nick. We don't get to see it on the
This is a
reader.
nice hand, right?
Mediocre.
It
And
qualifies.
if he's showing it, I would assume aces.
Yeah. Black aces.
The deuce to 7 is
Hold'em.
it's like a
Change.
weird game. Like it
Oh,
it
it's
fits with big bet,
53.
but if you put it with, like, let's say the U.S. Poker Open, no
calling it,
one's going to
someone's
play
gonna
it.
Right.
But then if you put it here, it's also like
This
the odd
game.
tournament out in a
I
way.
agree with
Like,
you.
you're only going to get a select group of people, even from the mixed game crowd, that play
If it's me,
that game. So it's just kind of really weird to be able to
you're gonna
fit
get-
that
Sure,
in.
yeah, why not?
It is in
Why
the
not?
mix, of course, for different,
I'm on vacation.
like dealer's choice, etc. But it's just kind of a weird
There's a rough,
tournament to try and
Nixon,
squeeze
Toby
in,
Tabbitt,
even though it's
Las
fun.
Vegas.
Yes.
Please do.
What do you shoot?
Did they put it in
nowadays?
Maury's mix?
69.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember what's
if
in
they give me
Maury's
a
mix.
couple
I
days
read
of
it once.
practice
And
and
it
warming
looked-
up,
Omaha High,
instead of
I'll
just
tell you
going
that
full
much,
turkey out there.
is in Maury's mix.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Free to call.
Cut or a draw? Or I
cutter.
mean both.
Definitely a cutter.
But you hit cuts. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
We
No,
made it through
kinda
all
dry,
of
just goes
Razz
quick left.
and all of Piola with people having like 2 big bets,
Agreed.
and no one has been eliminated.
Is there a break after this level?
And now we're into the Pontiac of
The
poker.
Pontiac. Yeah, I tried to claim Cadillac, and Donnie freaked out yesterday. But Limit Hold'em, you heard it from me here first. Limit Hold'em is the game in which 8-game tournaments
Probably
see
dominated.
players depart. It plays
Probably.
massive,
Yeah.
it plays fast, and you're always inclined to continue calling because of the way that this game gives you a price. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, this plays very big.
It does. It really does. There's a lot of incentive.
All right, so we are on Limit Hold'em. Let us know in the chat which car that matches with perfectly. Now, if you want to study no Limit Hold'em, please check out OccupyPoker.ai, the ultimate poker lab for everyone. You can drill real spots from PGT final tables, which of course will help you as well when you sit down at your local poker game. OccupyPoker.ai, don't miss out. Go check it out.
It's everywhere, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's as smooth as they
Shout
come.
out to Ty Gibbs
number
with the
one in the
$2
world for a
donation.
Yeah, he
Thank
was.
you so much.
Like,
Hot minute ago, but crazy that a guy drives at like 280 can be number one in the world. Wouldn't
Arvidson raising it up.
really amazing.
Cool.
10 seconds.
That's it.
Wong's going to make the call from the big blind. Heads up action here. Arvidson looking really good here with 10s. And Ace-King 6 not what he was looking for with 10s, but
All in.
still going to, of course, commit that last 250. And Wong with Ace 8-7 just going to give it up.
Yeah, best case scenario, you don't even have a full bet, and you're gonna scoop an entire pot. One thing I have found out recently, about a month and a half ago, Chris Vitch, who is in all these tournaments and rumor has it doing commentary later on in the series, started a YouTube channel, Death Donkey Coaching, on YouTube, and it's all Limit Hold'em hand histories.
That's fascinating.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
So-
I figured something around there. Figured they'll actually have
Are we
ace in the fall.
traveling back in time 15 years?
Probably not.
Isn't Limit Hold'em solved?
Minute.
He is using a solver to run the spots, but these are just the spots that he's been encountering in his live cash games.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and it really opens your eyes to anyone who has never used a solver or doesn't really think about what you should do in certain situations. He runs through a lot of spots.
Both players with Ace-10 here. Schulman
10 seconds.
raising it up. Friedman on the button. This is one of those situations where
Time extension.
stack size really comes into play. Friedman probably also thinking Schulman is not going to give me free cards. I'm going to have to really fight for it here. And Sternfield getting a
That's cool, yeah.
decent price is going to make the call from the big line, hoping to flop
Oh, okay.
a draw of some kind. Perhaps a pair. Ace-Jack 6. Right up the alley of Nick Schulman.
Bet.
And the fun begins. hopefully.
Schulman chips up to 5.9 million.
If we've learned anything from last year's mixed series event, Friedman loves to ladder up, and he knows when he should be applying pressure and when he should be playing defensive to let other players bust before him. He went from being all in, like he said, like 6 times at the final table to finishing second in this very event last year. So him folding that ace-10 offhand, even in position against an early position raise, is very in line with what I expect him to do at this final table.
Lewis, Sternfield, and Friedman and Arvidson, all 4 on basically 2 to 3 bets right now.
Raise.
I secretly really love limit hold'em as part of this mix, given the short stack scenario, just because it's such a punishing game.
Yeah.
You know, straight limit hold'em, not my favorite. 6 max cash can be a lot of fun. Very fast, lots of showdowns, lots of people getting chased down. But then in a tournament setting, the bets are just so massive that it's such a painful game to play.
Right. And players know that you basically make a pair and limit hold'em, and I'll see you at showdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on for dear life. What's the equivalent of 10 big blinds in terms of big bets?
So it's really easy to get 10 big blinds in no limit hold'em. So I would say probably 2.5 or 3 in limit hold'em.
Yeah. So when when Remko mentioned some players have 4, 5 big bets, like it's not the end of the world.
Right.
It sounds horrible, but it's really not like the worst thing in the universe for these players.
Unless you're Adam Friedman.
Oh yeah, true.
Then it is the end of the world. One question I saw earlier in the chat, I do not recall who asked it, but someone asked, if you're the short stack, what are the best games to face in the 8-game rotation?
Omaha 8, stud 8. Because as we saw earlier, there were a lot of stud 8 hands and Omaha hands, mostly that went 3 ways and got to showdown with 2 short stacks splitting up the bigger covering stack, one making the high hand, one making the low hand. You're less likely to bust in a game that has a high-low split attached to it.
12?
It's so funny because my thoughts immediately went to, just give me no limit hold'em so I can just shove.
I'm not running anybody's tab up.
We're actually both not members, though.
Oh, you're not there? Okay.
No.
I'm
play there a lot.
No, I'm at Country Club.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
And 2PC?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't realize you were.
I definitely prefer tree lined over the desert golf. I played it so long in Arizona, I'm just so sick of it.
I don't like desert golf for whatever reason. Yeah.
Because you got to go look for the goddamn ball. It's like.
Yeah, no, I have to go look
And
for it a lot more
snakes.
than you. Yeah, I've seen it all out there.
I think is that right?
The 9th game in this table would have been golf, I think, if they added one more.
Yeah.
Maybe they do a round of putting after the full
OVC
8-game
is
rotation.
kinda unique for this area.
It really is.
That'd be fun. Poker golf, just like chess boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Bahamas, they did one year. They did like fishing. Remember, it was like fishing. You went out and did something. I remember Moneymaker doing it, and then you came back in and you played the tournament like based on like what you caught or something out there.
And there was also one where they did chess and poker.
Okay. You could definitely do golf. Enough of these guys, not only at mixed games, but in anything that we do on the PGT, play golf. During PLO, the guys from Finland come over. They make a whole like golf/poker trip out of it. You could definitely do some sort of hybrid event there.
Just don't want it to be that high.
Yeah, a lot of players transition into golf for sure, especially living in Vegas where the golf is so good most of the year.
Way to go.
Couple of 3s here for Wong.
Yeah, normally not an open, but you could use your big stack to your advantage. The last pot we saw, Tal open 7-6 suited under the gun, which in limit hold'em is not an open. But using his image and his big stack, it worked out for him. He just took down the blinds.
Sternfield's in there with the King 10 off.
All in call.
3-bet from Avivi and an all-in from Sternfield and a call. Here we go. Another all-in. Will we see an elimination finally? That is the question. Sternfield all in. He has 2 overs to Avivi's 9s. No split pot to worry about in this game, of course. So
7, 8, 9 flop.
Here we go. Queen 10-8. Sternfield pulls out in front. A jack or a 9 is what Avivi is looking for now.
Tal, stop it.
3 of clubs here on the turn. 86% now for Sternfield to score the double up. Just one more card to come. Queen of clubs on the river. Sit back down, sir. Collect that 2.4 million. Sternfield doubles. Avivi still the chip leader though. 5.75 million for him. And we are still seven-handed.
I'm feeling bad about Grasshopper right now.
You're feeling bad. How do you think I'm feeling?
I played with Grass a long time. I like his chances.
So do I, but it's
it's just the whole voodoo. That's
just the way it went after the comment.
Not over yet.
No, it's not. Of course not. We're good though, right, Grasshopper? No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Okay, all right.
For what it's worth, I still like you.
Players joking because
I don't know if that
earlier
means anything, but
they were talking about how it would be almost impossible for Fu Wong, aka Grasshopper, to bust first, being the start of day chip leader, but I don't know. No one's gone home yet.
It's been crazy. We've been through 3 different one-winner games and no one has busted.
Yeah, rumor has it they're going to add more players.
Yeah, why not, right?
Let's get Phil Helmuth in here.
8th place, respawns. 9th place respawns.
I mean, have we seen Chino Reem yet?
We have not.
You're
We have
almost
not. We saw him yesterday. He popped in.
I saw the chat was already commenting saying, has Chino made an appearance yet?
I thought I would.
Yeah, does the final table really start before Chino makes an appearance?
Yeah, that's why no one's busted
yeah,
yet.
that's right. Maybe Paul
It's like the opposite last night. Last night people were just
I know,
flying
it's crazy.
out. Yeah.
Okay, this
Maybe Paul will have
this
to
I
hold
expect there to be a lot of action.
I'm not playing anyway. So no way. So.
That would be whack.
I'm not playing that game.
All right, so we are playing stud 8 or better. For those new to the mixed game format, if you want to win the low, you got to make 5 cards 8 or lower. Other than that, it is basically stud the way that you know it, with lots of betting rounds, which means that it can also get very pricey.
Cool.
Lewis completing with 8-5-4, so 3 to a low. Not the most spectacular hand, but definitely some options here. As Schulman makes the call with a 4 up, 3 diamonds. It's got a jack to deal with here.
3 spades. Check.
Lewis now 4 to a low, but Schulman's board looks very scary.
Check.
Does go check, check. King for Lewis, ace for Schulman, diamond.
And it's ace of diamonds.
Yeah, diamond also.
Also tough for Lewis just being like, I'm only really going for half at this point, so it doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah, it's going to leave him very short, but there's nothing you can do at that point.
So
Big bet now 600K.
Oh, yeah, we're about to go up again, I think.
So we played for an hour and a half, and we've
If you want to
had
play
10
a
all-ins?
bit of free,
Yeah.
no limit hold'em, head on over to
How many
playpokergo.com.
11?
Available on web, iOS, and Android. Scan the QR code on your screen, or just find it in
I would think
your
slightly
app
less,
store.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Play for free
Maybe
on
right.
playpokergo.com.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I've probably been on it twice for free.
Adam's been all in once. Been all in. You've been all in twice, Anthony?
I don't even. Just. What? I thought just once. I had 25,000 left. Maybe I did. With Adam, yeah, I guess I did.
That's fine. We'll count real all-ins.
It doesn't matter anyways, right?
No, it's just fun.
Yeah.
A lot of low cards here. Could see some fireworks.
Lewis with the bring in. Lowest card brings it in.
Complete free.
Complete from Avivi with ace 4-6.
It's this playable for Friedman?
Definitely. I don't expect to fold here ever.
Oh, that's right, Nick. You were all in once.
He's debating between the merits of raising and just calling. I think raising is probably too aggressive with Lewis being so short behind. Arvidson also
long's the
being
break?
very short.
Huh?
10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'll start it once.
All right, we got heads-up
Do we need to
action
turn
here.
these mics off or anything, or we're
And look at Friedman
Alright, cool.
picking up a 3, so he's got 4 to a low with the inside straight draw. And Avivi with ace-queen high is going to come along. Picks up the king of spades. And look at this.
Wow.
Friedman makes a straight on 5th Street, the fastest way to a straight. And you can see on the screen right now, he is in terrific shape to scoop this one. Here we go. 600K into the middle.
I got a straight.
He was debating the merits of checking and letting his opponent catch up, but
It almost feels like either one is just tells your opponent what
Yeah,
you're doing.
exactly.
You know what I love about Friedman? If he wins, he's upset he didn't win more.
Right.
If he loses, he's upset that he lost. So unless he wins the tournament, I'm sure he'll have.
I swear I know it was going to catch me there, too.
Oh man. Well,
I love it.
We are still 7-handed here at the PGT Mixed Games event number 2, and let me remind you that you can win your seat to the PGT by playing in our PLO Series satellite or in our US Poker Open satellite. Check out the schedule on pgt.com/schedule for more information. That's going to be happening on March 24th and April 7th, and every single series that we offer does have a satellite day the day prior. And here we are back inside the room with our final 7 as we get set for the next level, which will be 400, 800,000, and that should surely lead to an elimination. Once again, this is an 8-game rotation. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're catching us on YouTube, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Not only are we releasing daily clips, highlights, shorts, but we have multiple mixed game streams remaining, going live on Friday and Saturday, and then taking the Sunday off before we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with the conclusion of the mixed game series being a 25K 8-game, and that will then launch us into the 100K super high rollerball mixed games, the first of its kind, an absolutely special event never seen before. And according to the commissioner, Tim Duckworth, we have 16 players confirmed. And my thinking is, and I said this yesterday, that many players are using the mixed game series as a satellite to potentially jump into that event next week on Thursday. And we're streaming that event for 3 straight days live on PokerGo, so make sure you don't miss the action of that event. Donnie, 16 names confirmed. Are you comfortable setting the line right now at 21?
20 and a half.
20 and a half. All right. Kevin, you going over or under?
are you allowed to re-enter?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
I take the over.
I was setting the number on unique players.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So.
I like your line on uniques, but I take the over.
I mean, you're in the mixed game streets. What's the buzz from that community, from the players themselves, about this series, about maybe super high rollerball mix? Like, what are people talking about out there in the streets?
I mean, just from seeing the numbers that the smaller buy-ins, even the 10K starting with 60 players, is unbelievable. So I think there's a lot of buzz, and we see people, even Jason Mercier, coming out to play that event. I mean, it might attract some really high stakes names.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot for Toby. He knows that Wong, aka Grasshopper, has a pair of jacks most of the time when he completes this. We have 2 overs with 2 to a low and 2 to a flush. This hand is normally not something you should play, but being so short, this might be the hand that we have to go with, seeing that we only have 6 antes left in our stack. We have to pick one of these next 6 hands. I think he's going to decide to go with it. Oh, tight fold. Okay.
I mean, that's been the headlining story from pretty much everyone.
It really has been.
Conservation the whole way.
like I said, that's just not a hand you should play normally when stack sizes are reasonable, but getting all in against someone who probably has just a pair of jacks seems okay to me.
Avivi raises here. That gets Friedman out of the way after bringing in. And Wong's in there. And once again, we're going to see the two of the bigger stacks, Avivi and Wong, going at it. This has been happening. It's happened 2 or 3 times already. So here we go again. Ace for Avivi, 6 for Wong.
I think Wong's going to get let off easy here. Normally when you face a raise after completing with a non-low card in stud 8, that signifies that your opponent is more weighted towards a higher hand. And Avivi catching the ace is just such a scary card that we could pretty easily let our jacks go here.
This does remind me of when these two battled in Omaha high-low, because then Wong was going only high.
Right.
And here, he's also going only high, and his opponent has a chance to go both ways. I mean,
right.
To him, because he can only see the ace and the 5. So
yes.
He does get out of the way here, and Avivi is able to take that one. And listen,
just another game that's so ace dependent, and you don't really want to play too many hands that don't contain an ace in this game. I mean, they're just the best card in the deck. So Tal catching the ace gives Grasshopper an easy out, even with his pocket jacks, not knowing that they were behind the queens of Tal in that hand. And we don't know what happens in the future. I mean, Wong has been steadily declining from over 7 million down to 3 million at this point. I don't think without scooping a hand for sure.
Yeah, he started this final table in the chip lead, 5.6 million. He was kind of up and down at the beginning, topped out a little over 7 million, and has now given more than half of that back, sitting on about 3 million right now.
Yeah, I can only remember him winning the blinds a couple times, but not really winning any pots of significance since his peak.
Arvidson with the bring in. Sternfield completes, split jacks. Schulman king up, ace-3 in the hole.
Yeah, it's the same spot that Toby was just in. I think Schulman's going to find a fold here, and then Arvidson's going to be very happy to go with this hand.
Well, could that have been a spot for Schulman to put pressure on Sternfield?
Yes, definitely. He could very credibly represent a pair of kings, but when you have an ace and a 3 with another high card in your hand, that card is essentially dead, unless you can catch an overpair from what your opponent's board is. I like the fold more so than
I'd still say I'm gonna guess there's about
trying to leverage your stack.
Arvidson is all in here. A6-4 for him. He's also got 2 diamonds. Split jacks for Sternfield. Sternfield's standing, but he's not the player all in. It's that man right there in the black hat, Arvidson.
Never comfortable being all in with high cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Your opponent always with ways to make a better hand on both sides. And look at this. 2 pair here for Arvidson. And Sternfield.
6s and 4s.
The skill card.
In trouble here as Arvidson looks to double up. Kings and jacks though now for Sternfield, and
Paint not good.
Kings and jacks.
Got it.
oh wow.
Good game, Anthony.
Kings and jacks, and we do lose our first player from the final table. For a while there, it looked as though Arvidson was going to double up,
Good game, man.
but he is
That's super.
our 7th place finisher after many all-ins here at this final table so far, as we are almost 2 hours into our live
Let me know
stream
if you
here.
want to play.
Arvidson takes home $29,600, and I believe he said he's heading to the bar and then maybe after to the golf course, so life ain't that bad.
All right,
Still
we burst the bubble, guys.
impressive
We did it.
showing. And Sternfield here wanting a round of applause from his fellow players for finally reducing this field down to 6. Lewis, by the way, still on the ropes with just 500K as we're playing 400, 800.
Gets a pay jump though.
Yeah, not insignificant. 37K for the final 6. By the way, a whopping 170,000 up top for this 5K buy-in.
At the bottom?
Each one is one big bet, 800. Along with
Isn't that depressing?
No, I kind of do the same thing when I don't really want to think about how many chips I have. I just count it out in bets. I like it. Us poker players have weird tendencies for sure.
But the depressing part being there's only 3 of those.
That's true. that's not a lot. It's very
So
easy
many
to get all
chips, yet
in.
only 3 bets.
Yep.
You said, oh, good. Were you talking about him?
Yeah, three hands in a row. We
guess,
have
yeah.
the same situation: ace, king,
Talking about
low.
me, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have.
Well, there was more queens than there was kings and jacks. Same actually. Sort of.
10 seconds.
And Friedman here completing as Schulman looks down at 3
The right suit.
nice low cards.
Ah.
Not extremely connected, but definitely a threat to any player that plays big
2
cards.
kings, 1 jack out, right?
Could get fun now.
Yeah, so Schulman picks up a 7, 4 to a low. He is going to assume Friedman has 4 to a low as well.
No, just one of them.
Yeah, this is the spot you get into where you assume your opponent's going low and they catch a 4th low card, and you have a card in your down cards that is not a low card, being the king. Yes, it gives him an over to every card on Schulman's board and 3 to a flush, but you're just not happy having a king because it's just such a blank.
Schulman is the one betting here after Friedman checks, and Friedman catches a 7. Schulman picks up a 9. Now 9, of course, a disaster card in split pot games. Doesn't really count for anything. Players don't generally play 9s in the hole, so Friedman can read this as a complete blank on Schulman's part, and he himself catches a 7. Now, the interesting part here is that Friedman hasn't made his hand yet, but from the perspective of Schulman, he's going to think, I'm going to have to improve in a pretty significant way here.
Right, and it's such a bad card to catch the 9, which doesn't give you any sort of straight draw, any sort of flush draw, no pair, no low possibility. Schulman could just lay this down for one big bet. It is 800,000. I mean, you're not drawing it at any straight. You have a bad low. You don't have an ace in your hand. Yeah, it was just an unfortunate street where Friedman catches such a good card and you catch just such a bad card.
It's also important there for a lot of people at home where on the previous street, Friedman checked, Schulman checked behind. So if you're thinking about possibly keeping that flow, you might want to check. You might think to check is what I should say. But
Right.
Friedman took the betting lead there, denying Nick to just check behind and kind of realize some equity, right? So he just wins it right there, which is, in his eyes, is fine.
Right. Yeah, he used the strength of his board against the complete brick of the nine of spades on Schulman's board.
Pretty embarrassing.
Friedman quietly up to 4 million chips. Schulman brings it in with the 3 hearts and all 3 8 or lower. So very intriguing spot here for Nick Schulman.
This is interesting. I don't know exactly what the card's behind. I think it's a 5 and 8 and a queen, maybe 2 queens. But Tal completing with 4 4 9. I wonder if he's just trying to use his stack, but this is just not a hand you should ever play in stud 8 or better. Schulman not punishing, just coming along for the ride, even though his hand is very strong.
Yeah, Schulman probably just doesn't want to make the pot super bloated against another chip leader.
Right.
You know, he can just kind of take a conservative approach while still staying fairly involved in this hand.
Right.
Comes along once more.
And Schulman thinks this street favors him very heavily because he catches a 4th low card, but Tal does pick up 9s and 4s, which Schulman should never expect him to have at this point.
I literally just said on the hand prior, you're never going to expect someone to have a 9 in the hole. So you sort of treat that 9 as a blank.
Yeah, Schulman could be thinking, you know, my ace queen high can be good here for the high a decent amount of the time.
Right.
So Schulman does make the call. This hand far from over.
Although the bet from Tal does send off alarm bells. Maybe he has 4 to a low with 4 to a flush. Maybe he has some sort of 2-pair that continues. A lot of the times, if
you checked, right?
you catch a good card and your opponent catches a bad card, it should just go check, check when the action has gone like this.
And this is absolute nightmare scenario for Schulman. Drawing dead to the high and only 35% to make a low here. Now, of course, Avivi cannot make a low, so there is an escape here for Schulman. But he's going to have to catch something that doesn't pair him lower than an 8. Oh, a little squeeze here, so we're not hitting the reader just yet, so we're going to sweat this with you guys as much as the players are.
Notice Avivi got a 7, so he's got a lot of those low cards that Schulman wants to have over there.
Right. Even without squeezing, I would expect Nick to check 100% of the time.
Quick check, check.
Ace queen high.
Oh, and low announced from Schulman, and that means we're going to chop this one up. So Schulman escapes.
Yeah, they both caught a 7 on the end.
Where's Angry been here? I was going to wait if you lost, I was going to ask if you lost. Where's Angry been?
I'm not sure. I think he's around.
He never skips this.
Yeah, that's true. I figured he'd be here. Maybe he'll be here.
I'm trying to think who hadn't been here yet.
Mixed game community, a very tight bunch.
Yep.
Running into each other in the cash games year round, and then normally only really at the WSOP, at least for stakes like this. There's perhaps some one-off events squeezed into No Limit series, but even those are few and far between.
One of the best cards that came out last year was Stella Lee. We got Stella in the box. Wow. Ain't that something? You're literally one of the best cards in a game from last year. Yeah, true story.
You didn't play growing up or anything?
I played other trading card games as a kid, but only recently playing Magic.
It's a good game, right? There's a lot of
super awesome
and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of crossover between that and poker too.
Seems like it.
Yeah, a lot of crossover. That's where I got my start too, was Magic the Gathering. I mean,
You definitely used to hear that a lot more. People got their
one
start in Magic and transitioned over. You certainly don't hear as much of it these days, but definitely has a lot of times.
David Williams, Gab Nassif, Justin Bonomo.
And Lewis here, all in with the king showing 7-6 behind. Have almost no chips left here.
He only has 2 antes left, which is not a spot you want to be in, so anything somewhat reasonable. I guess this is good enough.
All right, so the king favoring Lewis for now, but he's going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, all right.
$10 for Sternfield, queen for Lewis.
Okay.
It's going to be hard for Lewis to make a low.
Seems bad.
And with Sternfield pairing, that is bad news for Lewis, who now cannot make a low and does need to pair higher than an 8. And 2-pair here is going to make this impossible unless he hits an 8 to make a straight, of which Sternfield already has 2.
That's why the turnover.
And a 3
he caught the
has been tabled.
See you soon, Toby.
And Toby Lewis is our 6th place finisher. He was near the bottom of the counts for quite some time, couldn't catch any heat, and he will now find himself collecting a paycheck worth $37,000, and we are down to the final 5. And as we get rid of some of the short stacks, we might see some more creative play, as there is a bit more room now for the players to perhaps get aggressive, even though we're still playing monster stakes.
Good on Lewis for being able to ladder up one spot there, even though he was very short towards the end.
Not even like the shorties winning, it's just the way they were getting it in. Like, with
yeah, the hands were just so similar.
Maybe Omalka saw that, bro.
Dude, I'm not greedy.
That way a little bit.
Stella Lee, you got the whole thing.
We got the
Well, I got Stella in the box. I'm feeling good now.
This is the limit game.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I think we got past the voodoo.
All right, deuce 7 triple draw. Finally time for some real poker.
Or empirically did.
Yeah, last year in this event, we saw John Hennigan pull off some bluffs in the round of deuce 7 triple draw. I wonder if the big stacks, just like last year, are going to attempt to make the same moves.
Draw poker, one of my personal favorites. Also a game that can really put the hurting on someone, given the sort of temptations of seeing multiple streets. Who doesn't want to receive new cards? Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, this game always seems to play pretty big.
The fewer players are involved, the more the hand values change. An 8-4-3, good for Avivi to raise with. Nothing there for Friedman to defend with. And Avivi's going to win the first one. For those who have never played this game before, the game, or the goal of the game, excuse me, is to make 7-5, 4-3 deuce, or something along those lines. So you don't want to make it straight, you don't want to make it flush, you just want to make the best nothing 7 low. All right, here is a look at the best cash games that we have on PokerGo. Use promo code MIXED25 for $20 off your first year of a new annual subscription to watch new seasons of high-stakes poker, No Gamble, No Future, and the upcoming brand new Cash Flow, which has a bit of a more laid-back, chill vibe to it. It should be a lot of fun. I heard there is a variety of the Wheel of Pain involved in that game as well. Donnie and I will be on the call for that one, calling some cash game action. You can see the full schedule on pokergo.com/schedule.
The current seasons of high stakes poker and No Gamble in the Future have been absolutely out of control.
Yeah, nuts.
Out of control.
All right, Sternfield here with the 3-card 6-4 deuce. Deuce, of course, the most important card to start with, as that is always involved in making the nuts. 6, however, can be tricky. Sternfield running the risk of making a straight. 6-5, 4-3 deuce, not what you want to end up with. And Friedman is going to call here from the small blind. And Wong has a draw to an 8 perfect, 8-3 deuce, and also has 1-8 he can toss.
Yeah, it's really good news for him that his opponents can't catch the 8 that he's throwing away. This is going to be a very massive, decisive pot, because a lot of the times everyone calls at least one bet all the way to the last draw, and then you decide if you'd like to put in the last bet or not.
And it looks as though Sternfield has made a 9-8 right off the bat here. Friedman is leading, haven't had a glance yet at his new cards. Bear with us here on the graphics.
I would expect Friedman to lead here, catching a 7, drawing to a 7-6 3 deuce, or catching 2 cards to make some sort of 8 low.
And look how quickly the chips are flying in. Sternfield with the quick raise, Friedman with a quick call. Action now on Wong, who we can see is drawn to an 8-6, but Wong must know that with so much action on either side of him, that he's got to really, catch a 4 and not a 7 to make his hand in order to feel even the slightest bit of comfort as Friedman tosses 1, Wong tosses 1, and Sternfield is going to stand pat.
1-1 pat.
I don't really like standing pat here with the 9. I think it's very vulnerable against the action that was in front of you. Yes, you're in position,
Check.
but you're not happy to bet, and if you get raised, you just have to fold. I think I would take the equity and draw to the 8-6. I assume the graphics are going to show 7-6 3 deuce for Friedman here, drawing to a very smooth 7 hand.
All the different cards, yeah. Yeah, count that. So they can scan. No, all
Yeah,
the card and
some
then
issues
it's
here with the
just,
scanner. So many cards to go around, and Kevin read it right. 7-6, 3 deuce for Friedman, tossing the 10, and I believe. Oh, he is pat, but I only saw 4 cards, so maybe the cards are stacked a little bit.
It is the top one stack. Yeah, Sternfield
okay.
is pat with his 9-8, 6-4 deuce, so he's going to get called, I believe.
All right, so back up to speed here.
And this
on the
pot is
cards.
absolutely
Yeah.
massive.
Oh, sorry.
5.6 million, and Friedman calls the bet of 800K with an absolute monster draw. Wong, we haven't seen his updated cards yet, but judging by his reaction, not an easy decision. Now, there's very few cards that Wong could continue with, given the aggression of both his opponents. He almost needs to make his hand.
Oh, he definitely needs to make his hand. I don't think he's going to fold very often just because of the size of the pot, and I think he thinks his 8-6 draw is good, which we can see it is. I think folding here would probably be a mistake. Remember, Sternfield drew 2 to start, so the odds of him having a hand better than 8-6 aren't very high. So I think we just need to put in this 800,000. There's 6.4 million in the middle.
It's so absurd. It's so absurd how big this pot is, and the fact that we can't see Wong's new card makes it even more intriguing. Allows us to sort of play along and try to read into this. Now, situation for Friedman is very straightforward. You toss the jack and you pray. Wong paired his 8 again.
Oh my gosh.
And tosses another 8. Now, this, of course, reduces the chances of one of his opponents having an 8 low.
So that's why he was thinking about folding, because the odds of someone else having an 8 low is worse.
Oh, my God, and it comes home for Friedman. He makes the 7-6, 5-3 deuce. Monster card. And Wong, at the same time, makes the 8-6 that he was looking for. And look at this. Friedman leads. Wong calls all in after hitting the card he was looking for, but Wong must know that Friedman is only going to lead after making his hand, and now Sternfield knows that Friedman will never lead with anything worse than a 9-8.
This is absolutely insane. This hand played out perfectly for Adam Friedman. He knew what he was doing on every street, just caught the perfect card. Wong is out of here.
Yeah, Wong knows what's up. He can't fold for 250K. And he's gonna.
I didn't even want to call. You had a 7.
Wow. Fu Wong from chip leader to out in 5th. Adam Friedman from short stack 7-handed to now the chip leader 5-handed. A role reversal for these two players as Wong collects $44,400. And we are down to the final 4 players as Sternfield is also clipped by this enormous pot of deuce to 7 triple draw. Wow.
What a hand. Welcome to triple draw.
Maybe the spookiest thing I have over playing 20 years. I find a tournament I do good at. I keep doing good at it. This is going to be like the 4th one of them.
I love Adam Friedman. I mean, from the moment he stepped on the scene, crying in the WSOP man event, it's just been pure gold.
The Friedman Open in Cleveland you're talking about?
Yeah. And then back in the day, back in 2006 or whatever, there was a $2,500 main event 3 years. I skipped it 1 year because I was in LA. Won that 3 years in a row.
He's really stacking his chips too. He's look at me, guys.
One at a time.
It's gonna take me 4 hands to stack all this stuff.
Oh, I mean, like I said, I mean, 2 4s isn't too bad. I mean, still, but it's just really spooky stuff. You know what, let me get this out.
Very spooky card there on the 3rd draw for Friedman to just basically ruin the day of Fu Wong. Sternfield, who was the favorite there 3 ways. But hey, in triple draw, your hand just never holds up.
Yeah, I mean the equities are pretty close, and unfortunately that's just how triple draw is played. Everyone sees every card up until the last draw, and you turn over your hand and see who wins.
Was it too optimistic for Sternfield to pat 9-8 there multi-way?
I think that's the mistake in the hands. I'd like to hear someone like Dan Zach or Chris Vich weigh in on this situation. I really respect their games, but I think in position with a 9-8 drawing to an 8-6 3 ways is just too aggressive.
After this game, yes. After this game, yeah.
Just hand for the left.
And you heard Wong say, you know, when he turned his hand over that he caught an 8, so he had 2 of them.
That was his
which,
third 8.
Yeah, made him worry that someone else didn't have an 8, but actually had better than an 8, had a 7.
Right.
You know.
And if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't expect
Yeah, I just called him with the
Sternfield to have a 9 in that spot, patting aggressively on the after the first draw.
And then you're, because then you're like, okay, did he pat with an 8? Well, I've seen 3 8s, so now it's like more likely he's patting with probably just a 7. He just made it, right?
Right.
So
Somehow he drew 2 and made a 7 on the first draw, which is unlikely but possible.
Mike Leo won't like
Yeah,
this
we
comment,
were
but I
sitting
felt
here
it in my
wondering
heart.
what he was doing, thinking about it, and he was thinking about folding because that was the third 8 he saw in the hand. That makes perfect sense.
You vibed me about that comment for about 4 hours.
Friedman going to work with his stack, not a hand normally opened on the button, 8-7-3, but he is definitely feeling himself right now.
He's in a good spot.
Yeah.
You know, you see Schulman there, even just gives up an 8-5-4 because what's he going to do against the chip leader when you have Sternfield who's got 2 big bets?
Right.
You know, it's really not worth it to get involved.
Yeah, position is massive in this game. It just gives you such an edge to be in position. I want to see Friedman open the loosest hand possible, just to keep the rush going. Give that man 8-8-4-4-10.
How much of Friedman's approach right now will be to be a bit more conservative as to not give Sternfield a way back in?
Friedman's goal right here is to step on the gas and put the other 2 players in ICM jail until Sternfield busts the tournament. I don't expect him to take any conservative lines. He's opening this hand 100%.
Million stories, right?
Yep.
All right, million.
10 seconds.
And now the other 2 players being short stack.
Call.
And Tal just doesn't care. We're in there. Playing to win this tournament. Obviously, he has the hand to do it with.
Tal, of course, needing to fade a 4, which would give him a straight. Friedman drawing a little cleaner here, but also not in possession of a deuce, which is something you would really prefer in this game. And Avivi pairs his 6. And
this is going to get very expensive.
Friedman just makes an 8-6 right away. And as you do in deuce to 7, you do not waste any time. So Friedman just bumps it up right away. Avivi makes the call. And the fact that the 4 is not available to him means that he's drawing to an 8 or a 7. Those are his only 2 cards to improve. And instead he catches a deuce. Now, this will give him more confidence that drawing to an 8 will not chop this, because he's drawing to the best 8-6 here. But still, this is getting very pricey. Friedman just standing pat, playing the role that Sternfield played just 2 hands ago. Now, Friedman's hand's, of course, stronger than Sternfield's, but it's the same scenario. You're just looking to fade your opponent drawing, and he does just that with Avivi hitting a queen.
It's such a deflating feeling having 4 to a 7 and drawing 3 blanks when your opponent draws 2 and pats.
Avivi is going to let go of his queen, and Friedman chips up some more, and all of a sudden, he's got an overwhelming chip lead up to 13 million. And Kevin, let me ask you, the fact that the 4 is not available to Avivi, is that draw even worth the price?
Yeah, I think I would probably just call pre-draw just to preserve my chip stack. You're not getting anyone else to fold by denying equity to someone who's not in the hand because you're the last to act. And I would have just played that hand
Go in the middle.
straightforward.
What's the worst hand that Friedman bets there for value? An 87?
87 for sure. Maybe an 8-7-6.
This is hand number 5 or number 6?
6.
Oh, yeah, 6.
Yeah.
It's 250.
I think if Tal makes his hand, he's more likely to bet. So facing a check after the third draw signifies to Freedom that his hand is good.
Yeah. I mean, I did think that that one was a bet. I just wanted to think, like, you know, kind of bigger picture. What would he be betting
Right.
for value?
All right, here goes Sternfield putting in $1 million.
600 behind.
He's asking for all of it. Interesting spot. I think it's just a fold.
2, 3, 4. I don't know.
2, 3, 4.
Nice try, Adam. Nice try.
So Adam's goal is to actually, under ICM, keep Sternfield in this tournament for as long as possible because he gets to siphon the chips from the other two players who are bound more by ICM.
Yeah, and Schulman has been a bit more of a spectator as of late. And, you know, of course, he hasn't gotten any cards in this game yet. But it's also in his best interest to let Friedman do some of the betting for him. Significant pay jumps on the line here. We'll go for 55K to 74 to 107 to 170. So there's a $63,000 heads-up match looming in the distance. The chatty nature of this final table has been turned back to a bit more intensity.
Yeah, normally in a 0 ICM spot, this is an open for sure with the extra deuce. Schulman decides he wants to go with it because of the short stack. Sternfield in the big blind. Not really worried about Friedman in the small blind putting too much pressure on him out of position.
And Avivi doesn't have a draw. Avivi basically has a weak made hand that can get him into a lot of trouble.
Right.
Friedman not drawing clean either, and has to, you know, give Schulman credit for, you know, at least 3 strong cards.
Yeah, there's no continuing with this hand, unfortunately. Oh, wow.
And Sternfield with a draw to an 8-6.
Yeah, I really like just call here, as we saw in the last hand. I want to, even though we are drawing 1 and we probably have the best starting hand, we don't want to inflate this pot out of position.
So Schulman is going to have to draw 3 here after he sees that Sternfield just takes 1.
For the time being.
Oh, that's not what I thought you meant, but okay.
The bad news for Sternfield is if he's thinking about it, he knows that 1 extra deuce is dead in Schulman's hand if he's opening and drawing 3.
So Sternfield pairs his 3, waiting for Schulman's cards to all get scanned, which, of course, you know, a little more tricky for the players here. They have habits of the way they look at cards, the way they receive them, so not always thinking about placing them all again on the scanners.
3.
Thanks.
So Schulman would have to improve dramatically to bet here, otherwise he'll gladly take a free card, drawing 3 on the first draw.
Yeah, he knows that he could go bet, and have Sternfield all in before seeing the last draw.
No problem.
And the dealer instructing Schulman here to spread the cards again. And he now, with Queen 9-5-3, and he's going to keep the 9, so it seems. Yes. So both players now on a 1-card draw. Schulman makes it 10-9, and Sternfield pairs again. Now, if he checks now, Schulman might fire and keep the 10-9.
Yeah, for sure. You're in position. You improved your hand. You must bet here. You could get a fold some amount of the time from a weak draw. This hand is too strong to throw away at this point.
Nauseating feeling for Sternfield, knowing that He's drawing to quite a few cards.
Yeah, doesn't have a straight draw in his hand. Schulman did check back on the previous draw.
So his draw will never be extremely strong.
Right. I don't hate the fold. I think you have enough equity to call, getting over 3-1.
Pretty sure I'm supposed to fold that one.
Like
So for those,
pre-draw, or-
No,
Oh,
right
there,
there.
there.
all right. So Nick Schulman doing some damage here on what I believe was the final hand of this 7 triple draw. Here's a look at playpokergo.com. Go check it out. Available on web, iOS, and Android. A fun and free online poker game. So deal yourself in right now for free wherever you are in the world. Check out playpokergo.com. It's the perfect accompaniment to watching some mixed game poker. The action is fast and fun.
5.7.
Watch out, you'll time out in any moment.
You're welcome.
I've done that with aces.
12.
Friedman's still on top here. We're casually playing 500K 1 million. Don't worry about it.
That was the goal for last night's stream, and we've already reached it.
Yeah, exactly. But we've made a full rotation of games. It has taken us 2 hours and 25 minutes. We are back to No Limit Hold'em. And No Limit Hold'em, of course, offers the option to shove. It also offers the option to be a bit tighter. However, with the big blind ante in play, and the fact that we are playing 7 hands, Sternfield is going to pay both the small blind and the big blind on this rotation of Hold'em.
Do you know how much you started with?
No, you don't want to do that right now.
Okay, but exactly like 325, 350.
Thank you.
Normal situation is a very profitable shove from Schulman because you get a fold so often. Wonder what his plan here is. He knows better than most people what to do in this spot.
All in.
All in.
And Schulman doing exactly that, applying the pressure, shoving with deuces. Donnie, you're a fan of this one?
Yeah, I think this is definitely the preferred play. If you do get called, I mean, it's going to be 50-50 a lot of the time, so it's, you know, it's kind of fine to get the money in. You don't just want to call and have to essentially go into set minding mode, because what are deuces going to do pre-flop out of position? And just like that right there, as Kevin said, you're going to get a fold quite a bit of the time. That makes that ultimately the profitable maneuver.
Schulman with some no limit chops, of course. We see him in all the biggest buy-in no limit events. Definitely knows what to do in these situations, perhaps more so than the other guys who focus mostly on the mixed games. Once again, welcome to the show, everyone who's tuned in on PokerGo, on YouTube, and on Twitter. Please make sure to smash that like button if you're catching us on Twitter. Incredible viewership today. It's been an entertaining final table. The Friedman-Schulman heads-up battle still in play here. That, of course, would make me feel better having put those guys on the thumbnail. Shout out to me if we get that far. But as we've seen in this game, the roller coaster is definitely a thing. Friedman could still finish 4th, for example.
True.
What is it, 125?
Yeah.
Yeah, 125.
Schulman staying disciplined here,
Yeah,
not getting
got it.
out of line.
I don't.
No, I don't either.
Friedman gets a walk, and we'll burn through these hands of no limit very quickly. All right, still 4-handed here. Lots of money left up for grabs, but if you want to talk about real money up for grabs, you got to make sure you qualify for the $1 Million Free Roll PGT Championship happening at the end of this PGT season. Starting stacks based on the leaderboard position. The top 40 on the season-long leaderboard will qualify for this event. And read that bottom sentence. Go to pgt.com/dream-seat for opportunities for you at home to have a chance to play in this incredible
Play the Omaha series afterwards.
season finale of the 2025 PGT.
Yeah, probably a lot of them.
Action folds to Friedman, who picks up the best drawing hand in poker. And he's just going to put it in there. And 5 deuce for Sternfield in the most painful situation, being the big blinds and paying the ante, just watching 500K go to waste, and all he can do is laugh.
Is that bad?
I wanted you to look at one card and snap.
Oh. That's 5 high. Not much.
Sternfield now paying the small blind, so we are just inching closer to him being all in.
It's like whatever call. I don't like that with the.
Yeah. You see the one snap, you're happy. But
Yeah.
Jamie Bluffett saying, we're four-handed, we won't make it back to no limit again. Very unlikely. We're going to make it through
I wanted to put it
a
in the
full
hand, obviously.
round of games again.
Yeah.
Donnie, you know what I miss sometimes?
What's that?
Is the European style of dealing.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. The sound that I made alone should have indicated.
He's doing the motion in the booth for anyone listening at home.
If you've never seen that, they hold the deck in a specific kind of way, and they shoot the cards off of it. And Sternfield all in for 675. Schulman in the big blinds. Doesn't have to pay a whole lot more to find out that he is indeed dominated here by Queen 7. Sternfield will be stoked to see that he might get his big blind ante, his small blind, and all that money back that he's been surrendering over these last few hands. And a queen on the flop will almost secure it here. Running cards, running nines
don't
for
you prepay. No, stop
Schulman.
it. Come on. I'm not fucking with you, man.
I'm actually just taking it back. I'm pre-collecting.
Jack of spades on the
I'm
turn,
second
and
That would be
now
Yeah, more than I thought.
I made a flush.
Yeah, I probably would have called. You made a flush? You're folding suited hands?
4 deuce.
Schulman looking for a 3 to send Sternfield to the rail. River is the ace of diamonds.
Six,
And Sternfield will survive.
675.
6-7.
Discount.
Mac in the chat brings up the thought that
Nice hand.
Sternfield should have just played that 5 deuce suited from the big
time
blind,
like
given
the
how much he had invested,
present.
with only one big blind behind. I'm not sure what the math says, Donnie, but it would have been tempting to me because 5 deuce is going to be live. It's suited.
Yeah, I think
1.6.
it's out. I think you probably need
Makes a difference.
Round 2.
8, 9 high.
I just wonder who has more chips.
Just to be ahead against some
It
hands.
should be pretty close, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's like,
1.
there might be like 10 hands that you can't
Yeah, it's
call with
almost-
there, and 5 deuce suited might be one of them.
135.
1.5 behind, Tal?
1375.
1,375 behind. Okay.
I also own this.
No, I know, I understand.
Avivi now in the spot that Sternfield found himself in 2 hands ago. The messed up trickery of being in the big blind. And Schulman in the small blind here with a very nice looking ace-8 of diamonds.
Should just ask for all of it here.
10 seconds.
$550.
550.
And a snap fold from Schulman, or from Avivi, excuse me, and Schulman takes this one down.
Is this the last hand, or we have one more?
This is the last.
Okay.
What's next, stud?
Stud high. Yeah.
No chops on the next few hands either. Quick reminder, you can follow live reporting on PGT.com. Event number 3 is underway. The 10K horse now up to 63 players. Final table of that event will be streaming tomorrow here on YouTube and PokerGO.com. Some of the big stacks right now include last night's winner, Nicholas Milgram. Patrick Leonard also in the mix, Dmitry Urbanovic, Talal Shakurchi, and Chris Vitch. And after a Schulman raise, Avivi is going to move all in with ace-5 suited for 1.375.
It's like 2.7.
No.
Much less than that.
Much less.
Oh. How much?
1.375.
Oh, I thought you had 2.7 last time. 1.375?
Yeah.
It's weird. I just
All
heard
right,
wrong.
so Schulman makes the call with Queen Jack. Doesn't cost him a whole lot more, but there's 3.2 million in the middle. That is definitely going to affect Schulman if he doesn't win this hand.
That would also explain why he didn't shove last hand. He just raised because he said he thought he had 2.7.
All right, so Avivi's term of life on the line. He is a favorite, but as you can see by the percentages on the screen, still about a coin flip here. Not anymore. Ace-9-6. Avivi takes a big lead. Can we get the 10 of hearts for the sweat?
That's a little greedy at this juncture. I think it's the 10 of hearts after that request.
Is the Jack of Hearts too greedy?
Turn card is the 4 of clubs.
Very good. Rewarded for the just. Maybe I have to be more ruthless. More greedy.
Avivi doubling up, Schulman down to 4.5 million.
Why
And
not the Jack of Hearts? Get more outs.
stacks remain shallow.
Why not the Jack of Hearts?
Open-ended with the 10, right?
Yeah.
So that's more outs, no?
Makes your 2 pair live outs.
Yeah, but 5,
More outs of the 10.
right? That's straight 8 outs, no?
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's more out. You said the Jack is more out.
I had a 10. So.
Oh.
I wasn't trying to tell you all that, you know.
Donnie, is it safe to say that Schulman is the only player here that cares about the PGT points?
Yeah, I mean, certainly for the most part. Like, I think if you're one of the other players and you get PGT points, you know, it's worth caring about. Now, is it to the degree of Schulman? No. But it would be Schulman, most important to him, Friedman second, and then the other 2 players, you know, probably quite a bit of distance behind. But, you know, let's say Sternberg or Sternfield or Avivi, you know, win 3 events here or something, right? Then it's like, okay, maybe I'm kind of in contention to do some stuff at the World Series or whatever it may be. We know Friedman for sure is going to be playing at the World Series, right? He'll have plenty of shots to get points there. Obviously, Schulman. And Schulman right now is currently 8th with 344 points already, so he's got a chance to jump up quite nicely, you know, maybe even get into that top 5, top 3 area, depending on how this event and this series go for him.
Well, Avivi is climbing the ranks now into 2nd place. Kings and Stud deliver him the victory on 4th Street. Once again, if you enjoy the coverage here on YouTube, please smash that like button. If you are with us elsewhere, please give us a shout. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how things are going in your poker life.
So when I raised the small blind in no limit, you had 6 big blinds behind, I guess, or something like that?
I had 9-3.
No, I'm sure. I had a good hand. I just, for some reason, I thought you had 2.7.
Big
sure
difference
one
between
said
6
that.
blinds and 11.
And your stack didn't look like that, so.
Yeah.
200, right?
Friedman with the bring in with the 7. Does have a 7 to go with it here. And Sternfield on the short stack finds kings. Buried 5s here for Schulman.
Wow.
Pairs for everyone.
I don't think Friedman's folding.
Raise.
Yep. Friedman is going to just get it in here. Comes with the raise. Sternfield happy to move all in. 1.4 million on the line here. Sevens versus kings. Friedman now looking to hit 2-pair or 7 to eliminate Sternfield, who is a decent size favorite right now. But with every card that comes, Friedman has more outs to make 2-pair. 10 now added to his outs. 7 stolen from him, which is not insignificant. Queen for both players now, also not insignificant, not as many new outs. And the king, wow, this is hilarious how this board is running out for Friedman. Still has a chance here, and he makes 10s and 7s, and that is it. Sternfield eliminated by 7th Street. His 10s looked great all the way, but the 10 came home for Friedman to make 2-pair. And Sam Sternfield, after a strong showing, finishes in 4th place. That one big hand in triple draw. If that would have gone his way, he would have been the chip leader, but instead, he is our 4th place finisher, collecting $55,500. And I hope we get to see him in event number 3, as Friedman is now up to 14.4 million. Schulman and Avivi virtually tied, so we got a real battle on our hands here, as the final 3 are guaranteed $74,000.
All right, let's see. Just taking him. Yeah. It's okay. I mean,
all right, Donnie.
If you can just shuffle just one color only.
Yeah.
Is it gonna? Is Friedman gonna win, or one of Avivi and Schulman?
How can you not take Friedman?
Sorry.
I mean,
Just if you guys are around equal, that's fine.
I have 3.7.
3.7.
I think he has a touch more.
Same.
Okay.
you still have to actually bust players
4-9.
in this limit format.
Keep taking inventory.
No easy feat.
It's okay. It's a part of tournaments to know what your opponent's stocks are.
No, I know.
not
I know. We just haven't played much. I don't know if we ever played together. So I mean, you know, but.
How much? 200 to bring in?
All right, stud high still.
Complete.
Bring in for Schulman. Complete from Avivi.
Race.
Is Friedman raising here with the idea that him having an ace in the hole prevents other people from having an ace, which, you know, generally puts him out in front against a lot of holdings?
Well, it could be possible that Avivi is stealing with just the highest card up, and he just gets to win on 3rd Street without having to invest too many chips just by raising.
Pressure still coming here from Friedman, and a pair of 3s is, of course, thin, but he's still out in front. However, any card that Friedman pairs would give him the lead. So far, 3s still in the lead. The question is Friedman gonna empty the clip here? And he is now slowing down as Avivi makes queens and 3s. And Friedman quick with the fold.
Third on there.
Sounds like I had the best hand then.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen you fold. So not to fold those spots. Sorry.
How many hands?
2 for this level.
When is the break?
We got a
break.
while. We got a while.
Deuce spade. 2.
I was going to say I expect Friedman to complete every single hand here in this spot, and then he has a look on his face that he's not sure, but ended up still completing it. 2 good hands with the flush draws, and then Friedman with the chips.
Yeah, Schulman wishing this was stud 8.
Yeah, I think this goes fold.
10 seconds.
Avivi perhaps a bit concerned about Friedman raising. Otherwise, if he was if he was closing the action, could have seen him come along with 3 spades.
I think Avivi is calling if he has 3 cards suited above a 4. I think the deuce is just bad enough that we can let it go. Obviously, if his hand was like king queen 8, he would have continued. But the deuce is just not a good card to have when your opponent has a 4 up and is raising. I wouldn't be too worried about Friedman having hands in this situation when he has all these chips.
Complete.
Could see a clash here.
Yeah.
Friedman starts nice with these split 8s.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a raise here from Friedman.
10 seconds.
Going to 4th Street. Deuce for Schulman, 3 for Friedman. Friedman still with the split pair. Is he gonna want to apply pressure here? He's just gonna come along and make the call. Now, how confident is Friedman here that his 8s are out in front?
I would say not from the way he's played this hand. Maybe he has more respect for Schulman's game than he does for Tal's game. Schulman still with the betting lead. Is just going to keep firing because that's what you do in stud high. I don't think Adam is folding. I think he's debating calling and raising. As we can see, he does have the most equity in this hand. Schulman has not picked up any clubs to go with his 3 that he started with.
10 for Friedman, and then an open pair of kings, and Schulman quick with the bet. Equities swing into Schulman's favor, but as you can see on the screen, Friedman still with 32% with 1 card to come.
Yeah, Friedman's very unhappy with this situation. And at this point, he doesn't know if his 2 pair outs are good. He thinks an 8 is good, and he knows a jack is good. But do we want to put $1 million in to win 5-3 with 6 outs? As we can see, he has many more than 6 outs.
Friedman does get out of the way.
Color up some of these purples.
Big pickup here for Schulman. Donnie, you want to run that bet back again?
Yeah, you know, can I have a mulligan to keep it in the golf terms in honor of Nick?
Schulman and Avivi now combined with more chips than Friedman, but of course, Friedman still out in front, but it is anyone's game, as you've been able to see from these last few hands. Quick look here at the PGT leaderboard presented to you by PlayPokerGo.com. Joey Weissman on top after a dominating performance at the PokerGo Cup. Texas Mike, Patrick Leonard, Eric Blair, and Kristen Foxen also, you know, on their way to perhaps punching a ticket into the top 40. Foxen, Blair, and Weissman, from my perspective, are going to make it for sure. Leonard has to put in some work, and he's doing just that in the other room here as he is grinding in our PGT Mixed Game Series. Schulman and Avivi have gained some ground. Friedman's still out in front.
Pads actually has a Telegram group with over 1,000 members. That
over 3,600
members.
Wow.
Okay.
Are you guys, both in it?
Yes.
It's great. I mean,
sure.
He dives deep into hands, the life, like all of it. And, you know, you basically get in-depth access, you know, behind the scenes from one of the best players and most insightful minds in the game.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see how he thinks about the game, what spots he chooses. I mean, even watching him run some of the equities.
Now, not in his Telegram group, on social media last night, he put out that he actually walked home with 3 time extension plaques in his pocket.
I saw that on Twitter, yeah. I was in response to the Norman chat saying that he has the time extensions.
Schulman with 3 clubs and king queen comes over the top, and Avivi again with 3 suited cards, getting caught in the middle of some crossfire here between Friedman and Schulman. You know, Friedman, quote unquote, just messing around. Schulman not messing around as far as these hand values go. Schulman picking on Friedman a little bit here.
He has the hands to do it. He's not really getting out of line at all. He's just playing the cards that he's dealt. We could see a chip leader swap at the end of this hand.
Yeah, both players with disguised holdings. Schulman with the king-queen down. Friedman picking up a nice-looking jack of hearts. Schulman has to realize that that 4 is not going to intimidate Friedman as he picks up a 10. And Schulman pairs his 6 while Friedman makes picks up an inside straight draw.
Double gutter.
Double gutter. Very, very well spotted here. I believe those cards are also still all alive.
Yep. Tal had 10-9-5.
So Friedman calls, and we could see a chip lead swap here if things break into Schulman's favor. But look at the equities here. We're flipping coins, a pair versus a big draw, and the brick of all bricks as Friedman picks up the deuce of clubs. Schulman is going to bet it again. 70-30 now. Does Friedman decide on 5th that he's going to call 6th regardless because of how strong his draw is?
Yes. Yeah, I think it would be kind of loose, out of line to call 5th and fold 6th when the board really doesn't change too much.
All right, so decisive 7th Street here, and the queen of hearts comes home for Friedman. He makes the king high straight.
Schulman still can catch a club and make a flush.
Oh, that will be the ultimate drama spot here if Schulman finds a club. And did he get it? He is going to bet.
Oh, this is interesting.
He wouldn't bet a 6, would he?
I think he has to bet everything in this spot. I think it's still very wide open whether he has it or not.
1.65.
Friedman says raise, and Schulman is sick to his stomach unless we see a club. I don't think you cannot raise here.
Raise.
And he is going to raise.
This is sick. No snap. Yeah, he was just betting with the 6s.
Wow.
Trying to continue representing. Oh my gosh.
Just like he did in triple draw, Friedman gets extremely fortunate on the final card, hitting his big draw, which was the case in both hands. Big draw in both hands. He made it twice, and now Nick Schulman on the ropes, down to just 1.7 million as Friedman jumps up to 15 million.
Friedman asked Schulman, how many chips do you have left? And that's a sinking feeling. That does not feel good when you know you're bluffing. Little did he know he had the best hand up until 7th Street.
Brutal feeling for Schulman here. Does Friedman ever bluff there if Schulman checks on 7? Is he supposed to?
I can't find hands where, I mean, maybe there's some 2-pair combinations that Schulman's checking in an attempt to check call, but the bet on the end is very polarizing. Either he made the flush or he just has a pair of 6s.
4 hearts ringing.
2 underestimate, right?
Yes.
Complete.
Complete. 6.
All right, here goes Schulman. Oh, and 10's in the hole for Friedman.
Schulman's going to make the call, and this will end up in the middle on 4th Street. Schulman committing to this pot. We're playing stud high. Schulman's going to need quite a bit of help here to outdo the pair of 10s of Friedman. And there it is, cards on their backs. Schulman looking for a 10. Sadly, Friedman already in possession of 2 of those, but a queen or a jack would suffice as well. Nick Schulman an underdog here, as we will see 3 additional cards for each player.
Because it's easy to win against you. Good luck to everybody.
It's okay. Don't worry.
That doesn't matter.
Friedman catches a deuce. 3 for Schulman, still looking to improve. Ace of clubs for Friedman.
I'll be right back.
Pair of 8s now for Schulman, giving him some 2-pair options.
That's a wheel?
Just
He's got a straight.
Wow. And Friedman makes a wheel, 7th Street.
I think it's a 4 across diamond.
Or the river. Again, being kind to him.
Good luck, guys.
It's a 3 across diamond.
Want to take like 5?
All right, nothing there for Nick Schulman. He cannot survive the steamroller that is Adam Friedman. And Nick Schulman will be our 3rd place finisher, cashing for $74,000, also adding 74 points to his PGT leaderboard total, as Adam Friedman will go heads up with Tal Avivi. And we'll be right back after some short highlights for heads up action, back in about 7 minutes for the conclusion of Event 2 of the 2025 PGT Mixed Game Series.
Can Daniel Negreanu come back? Can he come back?
I mean, Foxen is dominating this match so far. She's also making some hands, which obviously helps, but she's slowly but surely extended her lead here, as we see 9-9-3 on the flop. Negreanu hitting a pair of 3s.
$180.
180.
Daniel comes with a check raise here. Foxen makes the call. That's 7-8, you know, wrapped a little bit around the 9. It's also got backdoor clubs.
Yeah, it's the modern game of poker. If you even as much as sort of have a sliver of the flop, you're going to be excited to see the turn. The turn, in this case, not very helpful for Foxen, but still, she has options here. Negreanu with just a pair of 3s, not looking too strong.
10 seconds. $175. 175.
No incentive for Foxen to play this slow, as she has nothing going for her. But for Negreanu, this is also a terrible situation. You're short, you only have a pair of 3s. You know that Foxen can do this with air as well as with strong hands. The fact that it wasn't raised before the flop, perhaps giving Negreanu a bit more confidence. And again, the counterfeit. This happened earlier with kings and queens on board when Daniel hit a pair of 6s. Now kings and 9s on board. And Foxen's 8 high is best here. Everything going Foxen's way so far.
She might end up betting this here, just thinking that she needs to bluff at this one.
10 seconds. 550.
550.
All in.
All in.
Fold. Nice hand.
Thanks.
Negreanu comes with a
don't know if
check
50 is on
raise
there.
all in.
Wow.
Look at that.
That is insane. Negreanu check raised all in
That would
after
be a sick
Foxen bet
bluff.
550K.
Nice.
It really was.
Sick. A 3 something?
Deuce 3.
Yeah, I
I
thought you
said
had a
fuck
3.
it. I was like, I don't know. If she has ace high
Go
to
for
call,
it.
but
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
bluffing,
yeah.
then you can't call.
Nice hand. I can't call with that.
And yes, indeed, he is still in the tournament.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him up here next.
That'd be great. Didn't we have him at a limit hold'em final table last year?
We did.
Was it a 10K limit hold'em with Josh Arieh? I'm trying to remember. I feel like they all start to blend together a little bit.
Heads up.
Queen, 10, deuce, 2 spades here. Besh ahead, potential trouble brewing for him as Seidel flops both a pair and a flush draw. Seidel betting 50K. Besh ahead makes the call, and a spade hits on the turn. Eric Seidel makes his flush, and unfortunately for Besh ahead, he also hits a flush. Besh ahead also gets the action check to him. Donnie, Seidel is setting this up perfectly.
Yeah, this is likely going to be a big payday for Seidel.
Besh ahead, as you can see on the screen, not drawing dead. The 8 of spades would give him a straight flush. Seidel giving it some thought. Donnie, what sort of sizing are we looking at here? Lots of options here for Seidel, of course.
Here we go.
Raise. 450.
450 is the raise. Now, if you're Besh ahead here, oh, and he moves all in right away. Seidel with the call, and Besh ahead drawing to 1 card, and if he hits it, we're about to go viral on the internet because that would mean he hits a straight flush.
8 of spade.
1 out. It is a live out. 8 of spades still left in the deck. Seidel with it. Welcome back inside the PokerGo studio, and yes, Besh ahead hit his straight flush for those at home watching the highlights. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters alongside me with 4-time bracelet winner Kevin Gerhart providing expert analysis. We are heads up between Adam Friedman and Tal Avivi for the title in Event 2 of the 2025 PGT Mixed Game. We're playing Limit Omaha 8 or better on the first hand, and Avivi lets this one go. Friedman with a big chip lead, 17.2 million to 4.6. Once again, if you're in the chat with us, please let us know where you're watching from. Smash that like button. And please know that we are streaming again on Friday night, on Saturday night, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday again with more mixed game action.
Tournaments in over 20 years. Finish thing. Try to break that. Yeah.
I assume those pink chips in front of Friedman are 500K?
That,
yeah, I think so.
Those are not
nice looking.
Those are not used enough.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
The big, scary looking black rectangle on the table, the trophy for this event.
The monolith?
The monolith. Yeah,
That's a good word.
It's got some Star Trek qualities to it. Rumor has it you can teleport into a other dimension. If you want to follow along with the live reporting, you can do so on PGT.com. The 10K horse is underway, up to 69 entries.
Nice. And it really is a who's who of poker out there. It's every table. I just saw Negreanu in there.
Yeah, and then to think that the 10K 8 game is to follow after that And that one, I think, has some real potential because we'll see more eliminations, more re-entries, and all that stuff. As Avivi here raising the button. Friedman calls in the big blind. We've got king, queen, 3 deuce on jack 5, 3, 2 clubs. Friedman with the flush draw, also pairing his 5. Avivi pairing his 3, which hurts his chances of making a low. Friedman just with the call. Turn is the 5 of diamonds. Friedman now unbeatable. No low possible for Avivi.
You did it again. Does that bet stand if I
I'm
check?
small blind, no?
He's first
I'm
act.
first
but
act.
he's okay, sorry.
Check.
All right, the bet stands.
Oh, look at this, Friedman.
Quick, he's licking his lips.
Quick to point out that the bet has to stand. And here comes the raise to 2.4 million. Avivi drawing stone dead both ways. As you can see, he can't make a low because he paired his 3.
I think that bet was a little too aggressive. No low draw on the turn, just a pair of 3s. Hand really not worth turning into a bluff.
I mean, you can't call, right?
No, you can't call.
Especially after your opponent says, "Does that stand?" Raise.
Right.
Avivi. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
He does make the
Is
call.
that enough?
No.
Oh.
This is 1.2.
Sorry.
Hold on. I want to.
Adam is making sure he gets every single possible chip from this hand.
Yeah, when you have 100% equity.
4-2.
4.2 million.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 3.
This is 6, I believe. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, is Avivi all in here?
7 times 6 is 42.
0.6 and 0.6 is 4.2.
It's 4.2.
Yeah.
All right, so 750 behind. And a quick bet here from Friedman to add insult to injury. Makes the flush on the river. Avivi felt as though he was too committed here to let go of his hand. And Adam Friedman will take this thing down,
Good job.
winning event 2 of the 2025 PGT Mixed Game Series. It's the 5K 8 game, and that is Adam Friedman's 15th career tournament win. Well done, sir. He's going to receive the first prize payout of $170,200 as Avivi collects $107,300. I'm sure we'll see both players in this event where you see Daniel Negreanu already in the mix. This is the upcoming streaming schedule for the PGT Mixed Games. 10K horse tomorrow, then 8K Maury's Mixed Dealer's Choice, and the 25K Championship 10-game event, excuse me. All streams start at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And for Donnie Peters and Kevin Gerhart, my name is Remko Rinkema. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this fantastic final table. Kevin and the two of us will be back tomorrow for more coverage. Until then, follow the live reporting on PGT.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.